a time when South Beach was basically all elders, and
Okay.
I was kind of in between, not quite an elder yet. I was still roller skating
Uh,
and doing my poetry on the beach,
uh-huh.
but there was a lot of quote unquote hippies,
Okay.
elderly hippies.
All
So it was a
right.
lot of fun. And at night, when everything would close up, I would go out there with my hot dog stand. So
Ah,
this is hot dog month,
okay.
and a few days ago was um, National Hot Dog Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the whole month
Okay.
is hot dog month. Yeah,
Okay.
so
Uh,
I would go out there with my hot dog stand
okay.
at night when everybody else would close up, and the people had too much to drink, and it wasn't nothing else to eat but my hot dog. so um,
Well, you got to stand by your own product, right?
well, yeah. So I'll go out there with my hot dogs, and I'm still trying to find the poem.
That's all right. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and basically we just had we just had a bunch of fun. So
This was
uh,
where in what state?
South Beach, Florida, at the retirement community. I started off working in a nursing home,
Uh-huh.
but David, his friend had just opened up a restaurant called Mango. I mean, called Coconut in
Uh-huh.
South Beach,
Okay.
and and can't find it. Okay, so
Well, let me ask you a question. Did I read that John Lewis was from Florida?
I think so.
You know,
No, I heard.
his.
I think Alabama. I think Alabama. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
okay. Okay.
But anyway, so back to this restaurant business. It was called Coconuts. His friend and David had the nursing home and the hotels called also called the Franklin Hotel. And the name of my hot dog stand was called Frankly Speaking, home of the Gourmet Franks.
Frankly speaking.
Home of the Gourmet Franks. So
Okay.
all I did was get out there with a grill at night when the bars were closing,
Uh-huh.
and I would just sell hot dogs. So that's what the poem is about, but it's not pulling up for some reason. So to keep
Well,
from
give
wasting
yourself
time,
a.
I'm gonna
No,
yeah.
you're all right. But one thing we seem to have at this moment is time.
Yeah, but we don't want dead air, and
No,
uh,
no. And while you're looking, Mo and I can continue our discussion until you prompt us that you're ready. How's that sound?
okay, that
Yeah,
sounds good.
that'll be good. Okay.
All right.
Um, all right.
Yep.
So, okay.
Well,
So what? Because today, Mo, we had this righteous congressman, black man, uh, from the state of Georgia, who marched with Martin Luther King from the very, very early days and was very, very vocal about Black liberation, not just voting rights, but a total emancipation. And he died last week, and he participated in the famous march Selma to Montgomery,
oh,
Selma, Alabama.
yeah,
That
I
was
heard
through,
about it.
yeah. And so today, his coffin was driven across. There was a bridge where the racists, the police and their supporters, said, "You will not cross this bridge over this river uh, and 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 advance anywhere towards the state capitol." So there was a lot of violence, a lot of beating of ministers. This was in the time of Martin Luther King preaching total nonviolence. Um, so that they attempted two two times to cross the bridge and were beaten back terribly twice. And on the third time, they got through. So
Wow.
yeah, that period is revered in American civil rights history. And he was one of the main characters, one of the main participants in it. And as it turned out, now that he's died, they've released the speech he wanted to read at Martin Luther King's event, I Have a Dream, in Washington, D.C. And my God, you'd have thought he was riding with Che Guevara when they finally released the true content of the speech, which the civil rights leaders told him not to read because it was too progressive, too radical for a white society to hear at that time.
Wow.
Or or even the black religious civil rights leaders, the religious leaders, because he was saying revolution by any means necessary. I'm not calling just for a voting booth. I'm calling for a revolt across this nation, and it was pretty damn good.
A proper revolutionary, in other words.
Mhm.
I bet I, I I bet Malcolm X wouldn't have minded a speech like that.
R-
Like this is like that because like that sounds like something Malcolm X would have cited. Uh,
Sure.
because he was something along those lines too.
Oh, see, for the longest time, Malcolm contested Martin Luther King. Malcolm, for the longest time, publicly stated that Martin Luther King was in a sense, begging the white establishment in Malcolm's eyes, and that peaceful nonviolence, pacifism, was playing into the hands of the white establishment who felt no serious threat.
That is true.
So so he contested that and criticized Martin Luther King, and then finally, in couple of years later, he agreed to meet with Martin Luther King and some other people. Um, and it was seen as, I don't know, some kind of reconciliation. Though Malcolm continued to support revolutionary means, and Martin only decided, and then something else happened that the public has been uh, deprived of in later years. In the last 2 years of Martin Luther King's life, he decided that peaceful, religious dominated marching was not going to work. And he began reviewing the tactics of Che Guevara and Ho Chi Minh and other people because he came to the conclusion that his strategy was failing and was going to fail. And that's public record, but most news players have tried to eliminate that from our history.
Wow. Well, I have. I'm a little surprised, but then again, not so surprised. I didn't know this. I never. This is the first time of me hearing it.
See, it's
Yeah.
been it's been whitewashed out of history. Um, in fact, what seemed to have provoked the decision to kill him was again about 1 year before his death. He made a speech say against his own advisor's advice. He made a speech saying, I want to talk more than just about black civil rights. I want to talk about the unjust war in Vietnam. I want to talk about the policy of capitalism, um, depriving millions of people wherever it is employed. He became an anti capitalist. And he said the proof of capitalism's wrongdoing is the continuous wars um, spread about by the United States and other powerful capitalist countries. And when he came out with that speech, it's broadly believed that that's when the powers that be in Washington said, we got to kill this man now. He's liable to agitate these people like Malcolm X wants to agitate people.
What astounds me. Has there been any attempts on Minister Farrakhan's life?
Not that I know of.
Because he he himself uh, like he publicly actually made certain said some things along those lines in interviews, of course. And um I recall uh, there was one interview with a very famous a journalist, something Wallace, something
Mike Wallace.
Mike Wallace, right? Mike Wallace apparently called Nigeria the most corrupted country in the
Yeah,
world,
right.
and and then Minister Farrakhan basically ripped him a new one
Yeah.
by 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 basically stating the hypocritical colonial attitude of America, basically. And I was surprised he was not murdered for those for those lines at that time. Like that was a very
Well,
dangerous thing to say for in that era.
well, the reason why Nation of Islam, as we call the Americans, a Nation of Islam, they call themselves, or Black Muslims, which is also called,
Mm.
um, they've always been considered safe by the powers that be, because in fact, for all the rhetoric and organization they have never tried to intervene directly on matters of injustice.
So it's just talking, basically.
What they do is reinforce the solidarity amongst themselves. They spew a lot of declarations against what's wrong, but they never call their people out to actually intervene, like in Black Lives Matter, like in the Vietnam, like in any of the wars, like in international Muslim solidarity. They just don't get into those issues at all. So they're considered safe by Washington, by the CIA, by FBI. They're considered rather safe,
Mm.
as a large sectarian group that really poses no threat to the established
Right.
order.
Like the Jehovah Witnesses.
You like the witnesses, yeah. and 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 Michael Jackson was a witness.
Okay.
He
Yeah,
was.
yeah, he was.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
that was strange. That was strange.
Okay, I
Because
found the poem
okay, all right,
and I send it to chat so if anybody wants to see the pictures because it's got some really good pictures with it.
okay.
So
Well, that'll be nice.
Frankly
yeah,
speaking, I see the I
yeah.
see the I see the link. Yeah,
Okay.
let's hear you read it.
Okay. There's a couple on the beach. They have a small room. Been on the beach for years. Suffered through the worst of it.
Mm.
They have been through every phase. The hippie, the war protesters, the poet, the artist, the free love fest, the heavy duty weed scene. To hell no, we won't fucking go. From there to the boardroom with a haircut and a suit. Back to the beach to retire. She still wore pigtails and flowered skirts. Oh my God, we've moved slower through time, she thought. And those times now seem so far away. Contrasting times were here with cocaine, ecstasy, and mushrooms. Social security check gone too soon. These days were not like the old days, but vegetarians never die. So we dance at night and soaking up the sun, growing wrinkled and red and filled with vitamin D. He displays his art. We play on our boombox Bob Marley and Elton John, which
Mm.
drew a crowd. We become as one with South Beach as we practice our yoga or played our musical instruments and chanted Nam Yo Renge Kyo, Nam Yo Renge Kyo. My black friend was so beautiful in her bikini and golden head wrap. She roller skated past and waved. She was a poet like me. She said she'd be back for the session. A few of her poems were about David, the owner of the Franklin Hotel where we lived. I and other poets wrote poems about the system that tried to impose its hate upon us free thinking peoples. Passerbys would give us money for sharing our poems and purchase his artwork. We'd buy a few mangoes and veggie burgers for our dinner. We'd wait for the sun to go down. At night, my black friend Oladeji would collect the last $5 for the gourmet franks that she sold to hungry drunks left over at the beach. Her customers were usually those who had been evacuated from the beach clubs or maxed out credit cards. Sad looks and broke pockets were not welcome, which made her hot, fat, kosher, gourmet grilled frank smothered in her special onion sauce even more of a redeeming and tasty treat. As her poetic sign read, frankly speaking, home of the gourmet franks. Oladeji would chant out her newly learned Spanish words nightly to the dregs of the dejected partygoers. She'd shout out, pero caliente, cebolla salsa, rico delicioso, rico delicioso. Then again in English, hot dogs with onion sauce, very delicious. In peace.
You gotta
Okay.
read this when we have more people, yo. I love that.
Yeah, that's good. That sounds like the history of of youth changing their lifestyles as they get older. When you said
Wow, that was
now they're in suits, and who used to do this are now in suits, and
right.
Yeah.
It was beautiful, and the picture that I have on the if you get to see the picture, the
uh,
lady I met her in a parking lot. I was going to the grocery store, and she
It's
made
in
me
the
write
chat.
that poem just what she had on. Oh my God, she had red. She's about like 70 something years old. She had a
uh-huh.
patch of red hair in her hair. She had on a tie-dye t-shirt, and she
Mm,
inspired that poem. And that's the actual picture of her in the parking lot.
Wow.
okay. Why am I not seeing this? I'm looking. I'm trying to open up. Did you put this in the chat?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, see, mine's not showing chat. Uh,
At the bottom, there
yeah.
should be a button that says chat. You don't see it?
Well, it's in French, first of all, and I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that.
Mo, don't
No.
worry. I'll send it to your to your
Facebook.
to your private.
I'll
Yeah, to
send it
your
to your
Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah, that's a good
You know
idea.
what? I
Okay.
see the link. Do you mean it's posted as a link?
Yeah, yeah. If
Right.
you click that link,
Yeah.
it'll take you there.
Right. Okay, so that's what I just did. Frankly speaking. Okay. Yeah, I got it now.
Do you see
Uh,
her?
I do. I
Oh,
do.
is she adorable?
yeah.
And the
So
whole,
that's
so she's the woman who inspired it. Okay.
right. When I saw her in the parking lot, she took me
Okay.
back. Mhm.
And so, Mo, do you know that Frank or Frank's is a synonym for hot dog?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. Cool.
By the way, is there a particular reason why? Like, do you know? Is there more context to that? Like now that you mentioned it.
Well, like I said, I was there working
Oh no, no,
on the beach. Just
no,
oh,
I was asking Mo if there's a more context to the synonym of Frank.
Yeah, it just wait a minute, I'm losing all this
I
goddamn.
think I think I think because they came from Frankfurt, Germany.
Right. It was originally called a Frankfurter, meaning
Right,
a sausage of Frankfurt.
right.
Hmm.
And
Let's
they
see.
just like gave it a nickname called Franks.
Right.
Uh
Like and then when it got to America, we changed it to hot dogs.
huh. Right.
Right.
Well,
Wait,
wieners. It was wiener to wiener.
Oh
and
yeah,
I,
Wiener. Yeah, yeah. I heard about that.
I
and I
think
think
wiener is German. I think Frankfurt is
right,
German.
right. Okay. So there's the glorious history of that name.
Yeah.
Oh man. You know what? For
What?
some reason my screen doesn't. There it is. I have to manipulate my browser differently to get us back, to watch you guys on screen again.
I
So I
see.
got you.
Jiggle the
So
handle. Yeah.
yeah, I've been jiggling that handle.
Yeah.
So don't say nothing, Biggie. Don't say. I know what's coming. They'll get us. I'll be taken down on Twitter in 2 days. Mo Seeger was
oh.
talking about wieners and jiggling the handle. We know what he was doing.
oh, too funny. That is too
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, it was. Hmm.
So, so you've been writing for a long time, Vicky.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about when did you start?
Mm. High school. I started writing, reciting since I was 8. Started with Paul and Dunbar.
Oh, did you now? Yeah, because you mentioned him last week, Paul Dunbar.
Mhm. Mhm.
He was one of the early poets I learned about, as in Afro American poets. I never knew who he was until Afro American history teacher had us read him and other people that came
Well,
about.
actually, he used to take off from Langston Hughes and everybody else, Maya, everybody. Actually, actually, his poem "Sympathy" is where Maya got her famous book. I know why the cage bird sings. His
Okay.
last line of sympathy is "I know why the cage bird sings." At last, he beats his wings. I mean, they all took
Oh,
from him. He was the first black poet laureate of the United States.
all right. Okay. Well, there's some information I did not know.
And so he writes in dialect. So I write a lot of pieces in dialect myself.
Yeah,
And
and dialect. Remember,
mhm.
it used to be called Ebonics.
No, they started calling it Ebonics, but it's never been called Ebonics. It's always
No, I
called
mean
Pidgin.
later. It became that, in
Yeah,
the 80s
well,
or something.
Ebonics is a whole different story. It's a whole different
Yeah,
story. But
yeah.
Pidgin, and patois or dialectical English. Everybody speaks in a dialect, so it's not the
Hmm.
same thing.
Hmm.
Every country that comes over has their own dialect that they speak in. But
Yeah.
this was a dialect of the African American slave that they spoke a certain way. Um,
Okay.
so in different countries, everybody had a dialect. When they English, it would be called a different dialect.
Yeah, I
Not
agree with.
necessarily, not yeah, not Ebonics. Ebonics is a
No,
whole
no,
different.
I knew there was a difference. I'm just recalling that for a while everything
Yeah,
had to be
no, you're going
codified
to a
as.
whole different. Yeah, you're going to a different era though. You're
Yeah,
speaking about like when African slaves and different people that were colonized speaking English had their
yeah,
own dialect. He spoke with a dialectical tongue, but he could speak also proper English.
yeah.
He could also speak in proper English, and the proper English is what his backers wanted him to write in. They didn't really want him doing the dialect.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like, was he from the islands or from the U.S.?
he was the first son of freed slaves right here in the United States.
Okay.
He's from Dayton, Ohio. They have a
Wow.
street named after him. They have a college, Dunbar University. They have a street. They have a museum. They have his house there. He's the first black poet laureate in the United States. He's
Okay.
very interesting.
I read about him in reference to the Harlem Renaissance.
Hmm.
You know, because I believe he was older than some of the young people coming up, like Maya
Well,
Angelou.
yeah,
And okay,
they all copied him because that's the only he was one of the first mentors. He was the first free son of elevator operator. He only lived to be 32 years old.
really?
Yeah, so he made all his accomplishments before the age of 33. He was a sickly
Wow.
child. He died from tuberculosis.
Ooh, okay.
He was an
Wow.
elevator operator. He barely finished high school.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Wow. Oh, some more. I didn't know he died that young. Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. So, and you know, someone else who wrote As They Heard It, finally getting their due again, is Zora Neale Hurston.
Hmm.
Yeah, because for a long time, the intellectuals of the Black literary movement thought that her books were, I don't know, weren't, I don't know, weren't proper enough, for a group of intellectually stimulated writers. You know that? You know that, right?
Hmm.
Elitism.
So, she now everybody's raving about her because everybody's going retro now. Let's go back to the way people really talked.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's become popular to quote vernacular or dialect in literature and more in poems as well. So, okay, go ahead, Mo.
I wonder, a part of me loves that, and a part of me wonders if that's if that just speaks for how unoriginal we are today as a society, that we have to go back to the old things. Like, I love the old stuff. Don't get me wrong, but like, this is a trend everywhere now, not just in not you know. So it's a social phenomena which I love, but I wonder, like, is are we regressing, or is this just a good thing that I shouldn't complain about?
Right. Well, it's got a moment. It's got a moment now. Writing in what do you call it? Real speak. Let's conveniently call it real speak instead of literary speak.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't think it'll last. I mean, it'll have a period of popularity, and you're right. Certain new style will emerge, and the real speak thing will fade back to obscurity, is what I think.
I see.
Right. Yeah. And it's this whole thing about, yeah, yeah, whole thing about this thing propagated that we're so far into postmodernism that we've run out. Every creative ways and means has already been done. There are staunch postmodernists that believe that. Nothing new can be added, nothing new can be said. And I don't agree with that, but it's prominent among those people. And those people happen to fill a lot of university teacher positions.
Yeah, which is sad. I honestly think it's due to the information age. Like, it's simply faster and more efficient to copy and reproduce, or to learn retro,
Uh-huh.
and proclaim a profession of it, than to spend time to creatively come up with something new.
Uh-huh.
And this carries across all disciplines. It's not just.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. It's popular across all disciplines.
yeah, yeah,
So, Vicky, didn't mean to interrupt you. Do you want to
Go
read us
ahead.
another? Hey, do you want to read us another poem?
Okay.
That'd be nice.
I'll read since we were already speaking about Paul. I'll read the one by
Okay,
Paul
now
called.
here's what I want you to do. What I'd like to do is record you, Vicky. I want Mo to record you so that we can put this up on the Angora page after tonight. Is that okay?
Is
Yeah, it's already
didn't
recording.
he? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This one is Sympathy by Paul Laurence Dunbar.
All right.
Since we were talking about him, I feel like I would like for you to know exactly where the other poets got their inspiration from.
Okay.
And the name of it again is called Sympathy by Paul Laurence Dunbar. I know what the caged bird feels at last. When the sun is bright upon the upland slopes, when the wind stirs soft through the springing grass, and the river flows like a stream of glass. When the first bird sings, and the first bud opes, and the faint perfume from its chalice steals, I know what the caged bird feels.
Mhm.
I know why the caged bird beats his wings till his blood is red on the cruel bars, for he must fly back to his perch and cling
Mhm.
when he fain would be on the bough a swing, and a pain still throbs in the old scars as they pulse again with a keener sting. And I know why he beats his wings. I know why the caged bird sings, ah me, when his wing is bruised and his bosom sore, when he beats his bars and would be free. It is not a carol of joy or glee, but a prayer that he sends from his heart's deep core, but a plea that upward to heaven he flings. And I know why the caged bird sings
Mhm.
in peace.
Uh,
I could have
Brilliant.
I could have sworn I was listening to Maya Angelou just now. You know, because it reminded me so much of "I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings." Uh, I don't know if you guys know about that title.
Uh,
It's a story by it's a writing by it's a prose by Maya Angelou. It's uh, it's called "I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings," and she reads it with the same Vicky reads it with the same cadence that she does. So
Well,
I
we
love.
got it from the same person.
Oh,
Pablo Escobar.
okay.
yeah. And for all the times that poem has been published, I first read it in a book, of course, the title book, I Know Why. And then it gets put on uh, other places a lot. I have never once heard it referenced to Paul Laurence Dunbar. Interesting.
Wow.
I wonder if Maya ever published it with a footnote, after the language of Paul Laurence Dunbar. What do you think?
I think at some point she did give him credit, but
Okay.
um,
Okay.
there's no way she could not because
Hmm.
definitely those are his words, his poem, and his inspiration right there.
Okay. Well,
But by him being dead over 100 years, she didn't have to.
okay. Yeah, but his literary sources and that one being an historical reference. You know what I'm getting at, right?
Well, he was passed down to me from my
Uh-huh.
grandmother, and I'm 72, so he's been gone a long time. So Maya,
Wow.
when she came along, like I said, he was the first son of freed slaves. So um, you can just go look up actually when he died. Like I said, he only lived a short while.
Wow.
Vicky, I just confirmed what you said. Uh, I, she did she did like, but basically, his name is Paul Lawrence Dunbar, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. It was inspired by Paul Lawrence Dunbar.
Ah,
Yeah,
That's
well,
yeah. So you are correct. She basically borrowed from him.
I'm just saying, if I wrote a poem of consciousness and one of the lines was, "And still I rise," I would definitely have to put a marker on that saying, you know, uh, uh,
right.
Maya Angelou.
Yeah,
If I was to write in a poem, "And still I rise."
yeah,
Um, to not put a reference there, oh, would I catch hell, and deservedly so.
yeah.
I'm sure. Anyway, but maybe it was the fault of the publishers. I don't know. I
No, no,
don't know.
it's well.
No, like because, well, I'm sorry, but the copyright, 100 years, he had been dead about 100 years, so the copyright probably wasn't still in effect after that long.
Now
So
that may be true, but that may be true, but nonetheless, you know, for instance, if I when people quote Harriet Tubman, they quote Harriet Tubman. You know what I
right,
mean? And
right,
her language has been public domain for 150 years.
true.
But they pay respect by we know
That's
when we're.
right.
That's all I'm saying. I'm a stickler
Well,
for that.
I'm living, and they do this to me all the time. I have so many quotes and poems and poetry. Actually, some that people like. That's one of the reasons why I don't even like going to certain venues, because the next week when I go back, all I'm doing is hearing myself with a slight change, and it's like
Ooh,
really annoying.
Wow.
yeah.
You know where this courtesy should be observed, in the music industry. Like I'll tell you something. I love rock and roll, Joan Jett. That song actually belongs to a not so familiar band called the Arrows, but no one's ever talks about
Uh,
What is the phrase again?
that. You know the song "I Love Rock and Roll" by Joan Jett.
I love rock and roll. Yeah.
Yeah, it actually belongs to. It was originally sang, but by the Arrows, you know, which is a not so familiar. Like it's a basically an underground band in the UK, but no one would ever talk about that. Like I don't know. Like basically, once you get if you sing something and it gains popularity, you are the singer of that song, and there might have not have been a precedent. Johnny Cash, uh, whenever he covers a song, everyone forgets who the original author was,
uh,
and the authors, and because we've gotten so accustomed to it, that I remember I forgot who the singer was. Or I remember reading that Johnny Cash had covered a song, and when the original singer, heard it, he said, "Well, it's no longer my song."
uh,
Yeah, you know, because Johnny Cash sang it better. But so yeah, I really wish this culture and this courtesy would happen in the music industry, but it doesn't seem that.
Me too, because there's three great singer-songwriters that are responsible for so many groups having hit songs. Now
Hmm.
there is a large number of popular songs over the last 30 years, all written by three people, by Smokey Robinson, and Stevie Wonder, and Prince.
Right.
What they did was they wrote for other people. Stevie Wonder wrote for other Motown artists, and Prince wrote for friends in the music industry.
Well, I'll try to get one of my friends on here named Al Boyd. He wrote "Standing on Shaky Ground." He's on Facebook. I'll see if we invite him in one day,
Really?
because Three Dog Night did it. Phoebe Snow did it. I think about three major artists did "Standing on Shaky Ground." He's
Oh,
still
that
living.
song's yeah, that song continues to be popular.
He's still living. He's on Facebook, and he's still living off the royalties.
Okay,
Wow.
okay. And I knew a man in Pittsburgh who claimed all his life that Ray Charles stole one of his songs, and he never backed down and he never stopped campaigning, but he never succeeded in winning a court battle. So I know
No,
about that. Yeah,
that's
I
Ray
know about
Oh
Charles.
that.
no, well he knows that he gave them permission to re-record it. It wasn't like anybody stole it, but I'm just saying
Yeah,
you can live so long off the royalties. You get one good hit. That's the difference in poetry. You get one hit poem and you don't get no royalties. You get a hit
uh,
song.
right. Like today, so many jazz artists cover Paul McCartney compositions. He must be like rich a second time over from all the royalties he gets,
Wow.
Right.
because he's proving to be one of the most influential composers of his period, his era. McCartney.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Jazz people really like what he did.
Jazz, jazz. I love jazz culture, man. I love jazz culture. I really do.
Yeah. One thing I like about hip hop too is a lot of hip hop artists after the first generation started sampling Miles Davis, as we know, and
Yeah.
some other people, and they would speak it on the record itself and say, uh, "It goes down like this on the horn. Let me hear some Miles." And all of us listening, we didn't have to look nothing up. The artist would say it before he would sample the Miles and other. They sample Carlos Santana now, and they say his name a lot. That's a good move.
Yeah. Yeah. That's hip hop culture. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a poem pulled up if you want me to read another one.
Please.
Okay.
And this is one of my own.
Oh, good.
It's called Read My Pages.
Okay.
From stone to bone to hieroglyphs to alphabets, images and letters, from the tablets to the printing press, from skin to leaves, stamps, seals, and indigo,
Yeah, yeah,
lead, pencil, ink, or charcoal. I am the scribe. I've got to write. I was assigned to this job, so it must be completed. Now is my time to record in the book of life, never to be deleted. I am a poet, respected or rejected, burning words like incense from now in time. Since the rocks of ages read my pages, the wisdom of the sages. I am old but up to date, holding secrets in my memory bank, like an old computer with a crucial update. I
yeah.
am the scribe. I have to write. What comes up must come out. I scribe the words that come out of my mouth.
Hey, yeah, 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 yeah.
That's straightforward enough.
Yeah.
You you could give that as a learning tutorial. What do I write about? How do I write? Listen to what Vicky says.
From stone to bone to hieroglyphs.
Yes. Good, good, good. Well, I'll tell you what, since you are presently the feature poet, I will offer you another opportunity to read if you wish.
Okay.
Take a minute to look.
Well, I have a list here, but I'm trying to do variety.
Take your time.
so,
You
so
you're
you'll know I'm not a one trick pony. Um, let me see.
I
I'm
can
gonna
believe
do I'm gonna do a erotic piece for you all.
oh,
Ooh.
And I'm trying to just pick out which one I would like to do. So um I'm gonna pick out a erotic piece for you all. But I'm looking for it now. I'm trying to do a little variety here.
All right. Well, we can chat while you find it. You know.
Okay.
well, um, earlier this week, Mo, we featured that erotic poem by Prince McNally.
Yeah, we did. We did. We did.
That
And
was beautiful. I had to call him and tell him about that poem. That was so beautiful.
you called him?
Yes, I called him and told him. I said that was those both of those poems he did was so beautiful.
It
That's
it has a like it's not his regular flow. Like that one has that one has a very exquisite characteristic to it. Very classic. You know what? Oh, it's funny. We actually had this conversation with him, and you know, I told him like I can see Jack reading that poem too, because I don't know. I felt that the language, like him and Jack carry.
Cooper.
Yeah, Jack Cooper. Yeah, Jack Cooper tends to write in that style. I feel anyway, from what I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah.
And I detected that that was simply another genuine side of Prince,
Yes. Yes.
actually.
Yeah, yeah, it is genuine. I'm not saying it wasn't genuine, but I'm just saying that it's very it's a different take. I loved it.
Well, what I mean was, I'll bet he has substantial collections in that kind of sentiment, that kind of voice.
Ah, okay, okay. Well, yeah.
Be- because even his poems of social criticism, things like that, have such a person-oriented compassion about them.
Yeah, like that, and there was also this beautiful poem that he wrote about his daughter. That one was that one really tore me apart. That
Uh,
was really beautiful.
that's good. That's
Uh,
good.
uh,
Uh, so, Vicky, how are you coming along?
I'm pulling up something.
Oh,
I lost a friend. They buried him last Sunday, and I'm going to
oh,
read that one later on because I wrote an elegy for him. And
mm.
he died of the coronavirus. He lived in Atlanta. I
Oh
live in
dear.
Cleveland, and I went to Poetry Fest about 3 years ago, and he came to rescue me uh, from um, from the party bus. I'm not gonna go into details, but I hadn't seen him in a long time, and so um, it was just real sad because he was one of my best friends as well as one of my ex-boyfriends.
I see.
So yeah, it was kind of sad.
Mm.
And so this one is called Dream Visitor. It's not about him. This is the erotic one I was going to read for you. Okay, it's called Dream Visitor, and it goes like this. And I don't know if it's because, like, by my age, a lot of my ex-lovers and husbands are on the other side, so that might be why this poem is relevant as far as my erotic is concerned. And
you
it
can
goes
be
like
telling
this.
you can be informing all these younger people that erotica has existed from the beginning of time.
That's right. And even when your loved ones transpire, they might even still come back and ravish you in one of your dreams. So it
Ooh,
goes like this. Welcome, intruder of my private world, visiting visiting me at the twilight of my sleep and finishing with me into the deep slumber, satisfying me into completeness. Dream visitor, you have come again to ravish me and make me shy. I see your shadow. I feel your presence about me. You live inside me, lay atop of my nudity, arousing, sensuous stimuli. My senses go haywire, starting a fire. I am lit. You then let me smolder in all you have induced, and I lie there, desiring nothing, squirming in tranquility. Upon awakening, I appear shy. Somehow you have to know my brain is scattered as I fold up like a Chinese fan before your very eyes. I run away if I see visions of you in the day, afraid that my eyes may reveal or betray me. You must know you were there in spirit, and it seems in daylight you mock me. When your spirit visits my dreams, it is impossible that we are not both inclined to have arrived at this apex at the same time. Are you my coetous ghost, fulfilling me to the utmost, when in reality I lose all my faculties? I avoid the daytime visions. If I lay eyes on you, I forget what I came to say or do. If I look at you, immediately sensations rush through. The fact of the matter is, like a schoolgirl, I am flattered at the twilight of my sleep. You enter as you ignite and quell fires in me ecstatically. I'm overwhelmed. You finish me, leaving me conquered by your rapture, O visitor, O intruder of my slumber, O dream visitor of mine. I gain control by staying busy all day. I want to exhaust myself. Thus, the only way to prevent your visit, I must. I must keep you beyond the barriers of my deep slumber. Tonight, I deeply sleep, becoming totally incognizant. You will need consent. I must not lose control of my dreams. I cannot lose control of my dreams to you, ravenous intruder, to you who satisfies me beyond reality. But tonight, your spirit will not demand my flesh. I will hide behind the sound walls of exhaustion, even though I have known, never known such contentment. O prowess of Morpheus, O dream intruder, as your spirit holds my flesh in its bonding, the morning after is too confounding.
Mhm.
Ooh,
Well,
you know, well, and I'm not surprised you mentioned Orpheus, because your poem reflects what a lot of mythological stories were written about during the times of the Greeks, when spirits, or even the spirits of the gods, would come down to earth and sexually uh, interact with humans.
Well,
Yeah.
well, well.
Well, so you're in league with the ancient. Yeah, when you read, I read a lot of Greek mythology, and one of them, Zeus, used to do that. Their head god used to take his pleasure by visiting humans and sexually interacting with them by disclosing his real character. He would appear as a mortal man.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. I have 5 intimate lovers on the other side. One, which was a husband. One became the first guru, head of the Hare Krishna movement, named Bhakta Shiva. He's a spiritual, supposed to be gone on to become Vishnu. Um, his name was John Favors. His Krishna name was Krishna Pada, and he was the first black Bhakta Shiva of the Krishna movement. And also, I have one that just died last Monday before last, and then one other one named Clement. So I have like 4 boyfriends and 1 husband on the other side. They were all powerful people when they were here on earth.
Okay. And so, is uh, is that you? Oh, 1 second, Vicky. Is that you, Ronald? Oh, there you are. Hello, Ronald. Hello, Ronald.
Oh, he's connecting. He's connecting his audio.
He's jiggling. Anyway, can I ask you a question? Um, with your with your five intimate lovers, um, you know what I'm dying to ask you about your life today.
All I have is a dream intruder.
Say what?
The only lover I have today is the dream intruders.
Okay, all right, good enough. I'm just wondering. Uh, uh, let's say hello to Ronald.
Hi,
Hello. Wait,
Hi.
well, oh, we got
yeah.
you on now.
Hi,
Hi, Ron.
Ron.
Hello.
So, who's that sitting beside you?
This is my son. Hi.
How you doing? And is he also a poet?
Oh, yes. I don't know if
Oh,
he's prepared to read, but if he is, that's fine with me.
I mean, I don't really want to just walk in here and read something
Oh,
walk
okay.
out again.
okay.
I want to walk
Well,
in, read something, and walk out again. But I could read one
okay.
of your poems, Ed, since you're going to be here.
No. There's only one, two, three, four of us today.
Yeah, that's right. So far, that's all there is.
Oh, no.
So, would it surprise you to say that you can be next up if you wish? Guess
No, it
what?
would not surprise me at all.
Guess what? You happen to be next up.
Let's see what we got here.
We just heard a group of poems by Vicky. We're gonna put them out on featured poet for Angora Poets in the coming
Great.
days, so you can catch up with what you missed, and they're worth hearing.
Great.
I know why the caged bird sings.
Let's see
Yeah,
if I don't know if what my volume is here.
No, you're
it's
fine.
good.
Yeah, it's good.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. A color which I cannot name. Surfside, Florida, November 15th, 1981. A color which I cannot name. Something between mauve and orange. Lingers hardly in layers over a rambling line of trees across the bay. As minutes pass, the trees blacken. The lower sky hues deepen, enriched. Above them, a lighter blue, close to the oceans, survives, while the highest sky darkens. On this side of the highway, the ocean, still a visible blue, purrs, audible beneath the steady casual roar of traffic on Route A1A.
Now, where are you living in Ohio?
No, I'm in New Jersey.
That's right. I'm sorry. I forget this every week. Okay. And were you living in Florida then?
I wasn't, but I was there for a while. So
Okay.
I wrote a lot about Florida because it's very beautiful in parts.
Okay. All right. So, you know how we do. Yeah, you're welcome to read another poem if you wish.
Thank you.
Please.
Clamshells wash up on the beach at Manasquan as September's lazy sun takes a breather from the summer's riotous months of youthful passions, hot dogs at the Sea Watch, and sounds of tinny transistors. Remember me sometime when you're walking up that beach. You ever do? Remember September days with the shortening hours of sunlight and the cool breezes at dusk, when sand crabs can safely burrow in anonymity, when we found the best shells of summer and we knew we'd be friends forever until time went by and we too went with it, and forever passed into the past.
Ooh. What do you think, Vicky? That's reflective of your sentiment earlier, huh?
Yes.
Reflective of good love past. Vicky was reciting on that same topic earlier before you came on.
Wow.
Okay, let me ask you a very deep, important question. We were discussing the names for Frankfurt, Wiener, and hot dog. And we figured out that Frankfurt was Frankfurter and Wiener was Germany. Now, where did we come up in the vernacular with hot dog? Do you know? This is a
Hey, must be the U.S.
very demanding question, Mr. Poet.
Well, it's National Hot Dog Month, so that's one of the reasons.
So I was just curious how that name came up because it came up earlier when we were talking about it. Okay, I can see that hasn't drawn, but nobody knows.
No,
Okay,
makes no sense.
yeah, I mean, yeah, right. Okay, now have you another one for us?
Yeah, I got one more. This is Melodies of Kochakade, Sri Lanka, 1990. Melodies of Kochakade, harmonies of the streets, people walking and chatting, street walking to avoid the broken slabs of sidewalk, lotto truck blaring its excitement, selling its wares, the quiet of the shops with closed doors and a cool mango drink for the potential buyer, shoe shops and jewelry shops everywhere, and round the corner, a tailor who also takes bets on horse races in England. Sari shops and shops that sell material we can sew into sarongs, and the ever-present Coca-Cola for sale, and the occasional Kochakade dog, which looked exactly like all the other Kochakade dogs that lumber about the village, if not lucky enough to be taken in as pets.
Ah, okay. Now, now you lived in Sri Lanka for a while, yes?
Well, I vacationed there for a few times.
Well, did you not meet your wife or your companion there?
I met my wife there, yes.
She is Tamil, yes?
She is Tamil.
And wow, several weeks ago, she read some really standout work, poetry on
Thank
that
you.
top.
I will pass that on to her. I would like her to come and read again, but she's always busy, it seems.
Oh, well, maybe that'll prolong the marriage.
Maybe.
Both partners being busy. All right. Yeah, we would like her. Or I just lost my screen. Come on, you. Come back up. There it is. My screen's doing weird things tonight. Yeah, and maybe she would like some time to come on and read passages from her novel in progress.
I will
So tell her
suggest that
that.
to her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tell her other people have done that. They've read passages from prose passages.
Okay, I hope she will do that.
Okay, and now that we have a few minutes, we obviously have some time here. When did you start writing, Ronald?
I started writing back in high school in about the 12th grade. No, earlier than that, actually, probably about the 10th grade. And I wrote very badly, mostly fiction at that time. I wrote a lot of spy stories and westerns and things like that. But I didn't start writing poetry till was in college, and again, it was very bad. Uh, After I got out of college, I started writing poetry in earnest, and started really working out at the craft.
Okay, and along the way, were you following a profession as well?
Um, as soon as I got out of college, I looked around and couldn't find much work that interested me. So I ended up driving a taxi for about 4 years, and that's a great profession to have if you're going to be a writer because you get so many stories. Um, then uh, I had a very minor car accident, and it really worried me. I thought, what happens if I have a serious accident? Then I can't do anything. I won't be able to drive anymore. What can I do? So I enrolled in a computer programming school, that 6-month course. And back in those days, you didn't have to have a 4-year degree in data processing to go into computer programming. So when I got out of the 6-month course, jobs were plentiful, and I took one, and I programmed for about 40 years uh, since then. One of the
Okay.
great things about being a programmer was I was able to get a job with Pan American World Airways. Uh, so I had flight benefits, and boy, did I use them. I went all over the place.
And Pan Am
Paris,
float. Oh yeah.
yeah, Paris, London, um Mexico, Germany, Brazil, all over.
Sri Lanka.
No, Sri Lanka came later. It came after I was out of the airline business.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Well, interesting story. Yeah. Yeah. Good. There's a lot of people that hold on to their poetry as they pursued what they thought was going to be, I don't know, conventional careers.
Hmm.
And and yeah, I remember an insurance. What was it? What was he? A real estate man came to my house one day to say, "Do you want to sell your old house?" And I went, "No." And he said, "You're home in the afternoon. That's odd." And I said, "Well, I'm a poet, so I keep writer's hours." And he stood in my hallway for a half hour telling me about the history of his passion for writing poetry and how he finally stopped writing poetry, following that passion, because people convinced him it was going to lead him nowhere, simply into obscurity. And then the various economic crashes happened in the U.S. Right? There was the bubble of what's it, 2000? The
Yeah,
high tech, and then there was '08. The financial coup d'état, and now there's a bubble now. Well, the bubble. Severe economic downturn now. I've had friends, particularly after '08, when so many people's stability crashed, tell me that they wish they'd have followed my route because after all those years of paying mortgages on the house and monthly payments on the nice car, they could no longer afford to do so. And they felt that their life ambition had been defeated. That was them talking, and saying, to me, oh, you're sitting okay calmly when you were in New York and now in Paris and didn't follow that carrot on the stick. And you don't have the debts that we have to face. And therefore, they were saying, I should have been a singer. I should have been a poet. I should have been a painter. Because in the end, under the critical ups and downs of the economy, they wouldn't have suffered, their own personal crash.
But what I
hmm,
like about his story, I like about your story is the fact that back then you could actually take a 6-month course and get all those benefits out of it. I mean, that was just the times were right then when people could just go take computer programming, or they could opt to be something else. Use your skills like plumbing, electronics, um, electrician, pass the skills down from grandparents, and then the new skills that came to be. But everybody went to go to school to become like a doctor or a lawyer and take like all those years. And here you could go 6 months. You got free flights, freedom to go wherever you want to go. Got skill, the technology. And I just think it was a great story. I think it's just
Funny you should say that. Me and a friend of mine were talking the other day, and this is subject is always comes up about, he's an engineer, and one of the woes that we always talk about, studying engineering in college is by the time a student is done, the standards of actual engineering would change. So a bachelor takes approximately 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously the basics are still there, but uh, well, the other stuff that they learn, which they spend 2 years learning, is now outdated by current,
Obsolete. Yeah.
obsolete by current standards.
Well,
Wow.
Yeah.
that explains so many young startup ventures, young people, because they caught onto it too. By the time they graduated AI or computer science, the industry had updated the application of that technology. That while they knew the basics, they weren't caught up with the current application.
Yeah.
So it's started this popularity with smart people. Well, people who thought they could do it outside of convention. Bill Gates dropped out of college, and so many people dropped out and said they understood that and said, let's develop our own understanding of this based on the basics. And they succeeded.
Yeah.
It, that's the flip side of what you're talking about. People realizing I don't need a 4-year degree. I'll be outdated by the time I get it.
There's a very popular psychologist on YouTube. He goes by the name of Jordan Peterson.
Oh, him, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, he there's a phone ringing somewhere. It's like, oh, all right. Anyway, he basically said that university is just was supposed to be a place where the students have discussions of the things that they learn and thus advance the discussions of the things that they learn. It's not really, but now it is a much more reduced, uh, universities are basically have been reduced to what they were in comparison to the past. Now they're essentially business. That's what he
Yeah.
described. That's what, yeah, because you know, back in the old days, universities had all these student clubs, and there would be some serious discussions on campus. These universities would take part in protests and lots of stuff. Now they're no longer a community hub of discussion. They're just business. You know.
Yeah. Well, the priority shifted some years ago through most major American universities, which was you're going to the university to find a job,
Yeah.
so that what you study, uh, in fact, many students would, you should study only or entirely those subjects that support your career efforts, and things like broad discussion, like as the Greeks called it, the academy. Philosophy, morality, ethics, literature, all that are no longer necessary or relevant.
Right. Right.
What you need to do is get enough information in you so that your CV may entitle you to a job in the field you're pursuing.
Yep. Vicky is asking, what is that beautiful rock around your neck? Vicky's asking.
This,
Yes.
yeah, well, I tell you what, I can't take this off because it's tied around my neck. So I'd like to show you. I'd like to show you. See, can you see it now?
Yeah, I can see it.
It looks like now I found it as I find jewelry because I can't afford, expensive jewelry, so I don't buy it. So I find things, and I found this, and let's see, it's better in the shadow, right? Well, okay, so it's got all these circles within circles within circles, square in a square, and there are 6 amber stones decorating
Mm.
this piece. You may be able to
Okay.
see the one in the center.
Mm.
There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as a borderline, amber stones. And I,
Oh wow.
yeah, I kind of guess by its elaboration that it might be something moving toward India. because of the concentric circles and where the stones are placed, but I haven't yet been able to really have it identified. So I wear it
Mm.
because I like the way it looks.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
You
Well,
you
that's
just you just
another one
found
of
it, or
my.
like was it like find somewhere? Or, like how'd you find it?
Well, what I do is I pass. Vintage stores will have them. You know, they'll have things that people discard to vintage stores that are very
Mhm.
affordable, and I look over them. Uh, I,
Mm.
occasion and where else? Other places that are not jewelry stores. They simply have things that they sell
Mhm.
alongside their main products.
Mm.
Now, this
I
I
love
forget.
that.
Yeah, I forget where I found it. I just kept it for 2 years, and I started wearing it lately because I like it. I mean, simply that I like it. You know,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
I'm interested. I am a jeweler. I do collect rocks and gems, and I do love
So
jewelry.
you like
I
amber?
use amber is my favorite of all. It's millions of years old, and the process that nature goes through to make it is my favorite of all time.
And it's
Especially Baltic amber.
exactly because it's the preferred stone of Russians. You know that is
It's
their
the
number.
preferred stone. Most
Yeah.
collectors like the more shinier things, but I like amber for some reason. I don't know. I just love amber. It's
Well, you'd be in league with the Russians because for anniversaries, birthdays, marriages, it's very customary for someone to give someone else amber.
hmm yeah.
And do you know? I forget what the significance of. You know how they put what like emotional or spiritual significance to a stone. Do you know what that might be for amber?
Well, I know they give it to the babies to tea, the one. It has a spiritual nature, but
Okay.
what it means to me is just that in tune with the longevity of life and the span of the earth, that something is still around from those millions of years, and the spirit that it must carry. It'll be like owning an ice cap that's been frozen for years, but only it's not
Yeah.
ice. It's amber.
hmm Well, there are in fact many cultures, uh, beginning in ancient times, that attributed very special characteristics to each stone.
Okay.
That's very true. And I reread again how we get diamonds. My goodness, a diamond uh, as big as my fingernail is the product of several thousand tons of weight that take a large mass of liquid, which the diamond originally is, and condenses and condenses and condenses and weighs upon it until finally, after a million years, well, I don't know about a million years, but after eons and eons of time, it might be a million years, that liquid substance buried beneath ground has been transformed from its original liquid to a diamond. And it's also said that they're the hardest mineral on the planet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Uh,
mountains of it underneath us.
yeah. And the diamonds only became popular, they say, I think, in the 19th century and the 20th century. Diamonds were traditionally used as cutting tools because you may have heard it in the past that uh, diamonds used in record player needles and other instruments, other objects were unbreakable.
There was this one. I don't remember what the specific reason was, but there have been some suggestions that claim that diamonds are actually not supposed to be the worth that they are today. That I've heard that gold should still be more worth than diamond, but for some reason it isn't.
Right. Something happened. I don't know. I think it was during the British Empire. that monarchy and other important people began to take on diamonds as a jewel, and it caught on. And then he said that diamonds as a stone representing engagement and marriage is a relatively new phenomenon in world culture.
Hmm.
So there you go. There you go. And the reason why they say diamonds are forever is because its properties and geological content is that you can't break them. They, if your diamond chips, you got a phony diamond.
Hmm.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah. Either that or you've exposed them to some serious laser technology.
Okay, but I don't know if laser will do it, or somebody got that at Walmart. Busted.
Well, the thing is this. The most important thing is that um, all the gems have their specific
Mhm.
properties that do things. And right now, we should be more concerned about which of the stones keep radiation away from us because we're exposed to so much radiation. So those are the kind of stones I collect and I sell. I make earrings, necklaces, whatever you put on around your ears and stuff, so that kind of keep the radiation from just like going into your brain and all this kind of stuff. So there's a
Well,
lot of
from which stones would they be, Vicky?
there's a few different ones that I'm using. Obsidian and a lot of different ones. There's a few different ones. Some of them are stronger than others. A few crystals,
Uh,
but I will send you a list of them. Of
well,
the ones that are used for that protection.
well, I've been exposed to so much contamination and
I
corruption.
know.
The fact that I'm still standing, that,
Right, with a brain.
you know, somewhat. I tell you, I'm the man with limited self storage capacity. But
Did you hear about the 5G? About the 5G that's coming our
oh,
way?
please,
So I'm
please.
just
Dear
saying there are
God.
stones that repel the radiation. So I will send you a list of them, and maybe
Okay.
uh, you can get a few of them. And I still sell
Well,
some too. So I'll
well,
let you know.
let me ask you this: something from the hippie and New Age movement. Now, I had a publisher from inner city Philadelphia, Lamont Steptoe, and when he came back from Vietnam and started publishing us, he believed in crystals and would like take me into like festivals and spend all day talking to crystal sellers. And
Hmm.
he believed the crystals did indeed match, I don't know, match what the body energy and do things with it. How
Right.
about your opinion of crystals?
It's true. I mean, the stones are. Ever since I was a child, I was just fascinated by different stones, and I would just go in the yard, get a hammer, and bust rocks open and look at the formations. And
Yeah.
a geologist, that's what I wanted to really want. What I really wanted to be, you know. So I had to settle for being a jeweler, and, collecting different rocks and stones and learning about them. And I enjoy it. I still enjoy it to this day. But I can't seem to get
Well,
any of my grandchildren to like, get involved in it. So I got all this collection, and nobody wants them, like they or cares, and
mm,
it's really hurtful.
uh, well, what I was again to be more specific, do you believe that crystals have the power that
Yes.
um, you do believe that? Okay, because I don't know. I'm just asking out of
As
ignorance.
in each stone is what I'm saying. Each stone has its own. It like I said, I use particular stones that um, keep away bad vibrations or keep away radiation or will
Yeah,
protect you from something or will pull something out of your body that you don't
right.
need
Well,
and you know
well, I grew up with people like that, and you might guess which group that the old women still wore garlic around their neck.
mhm
The
mhm
Italians, the Southern Italians, the
and we had a
grandmothers, would actually string garlic around their neck to get well which science later proved was true.
Yes.
And but they also believed it would ward off the evil eye, the
Yes.
Moloch, they call. Yeah, they believed that it would, if they felt if they felt encroached upon by a bad spirit, they would throw on the garlic strands around their neck to keep,
Oh,
instead of
well,
a
I
crucifix.
believe a virus. Yeah, a virus is a bad spirit, and it
So,
definitely keeps viruses away.
and this man I told you about, my former publisher, Lamont Steptoe, who has been one hell of a poet out of Philadelphia. Um, he claimed, now he was what do you call it? A high energy guy. And then he had PTSD from Vietnam. Okay. And I'd go to his house in Philly, and we'd be working on a publishing thing, like you're going to publish me. And he'd be up all night long in the dark in the next room, smoking weed and just quietly going over his Vietnam experiences. And he
Mm.
told me that one night his energy level was so, traumatized, was so wound up over that, that the crystal exploded on his chest.
Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Well,
So,
I did speak to you briefly about whether you knew my daughter or not. She was actually the mushroom queen, and the she had did her last um, lecture in Paris before she died.
yes,
Um,
I read
and
that.
I don't know if you saw her on the internet or if you got to see her speech. I don't know if you were in Paris at that time,
No,
but she
I
went
did
out.
not. Go ahead.
Well, she went to Paris right before she passed away. She died from lack of potassium. She was doing a fast, and she fasted too long. So her name was Kai Wingo, and they call her the Mushroom Queen. Her farm is right down the street from where I live. I can
Mm,
walk down there. She still has a
mm.
farm down there where she cultivated her mushrooms, and it's just sitting there because right after that, her the person that taught her about the mushrooms, Kalinde, he also passed away, and they put on his death certificate coronavirus, which I know something's wrong with that. But anyway, my daughter was the mushroom queen. She spoke a Mocha Foundation. She was also um, uh, chosen to be the one of the most unique persons in the United States. She did a speech on the mushrooms for the Mocha Foundation. Mocha is a new
Okay.
foundation, something like TED Talk.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because I have read things where there are mushroom cults. There are people that believe the wellness of life provided
Right.
naturally is in the variety of mushrooms.
Yes.
And they name various mushrooms for edible use
Hmm.
as a way to safe to buttress your health or to fight
Hmm.
against illness.
Right.
And they say it's all about and why mushrooms. They say because all mushrooms are fungus,
Right.
and that actually something that we usually are deterred from, fungus.
Well,
There,
according to my daughter, mushrooms have a whole secret life that you have to
yeah,
really get into, and you have to really understand that life and study that life and know the properties of what each mushroom has to offer. The same as we were talking about the rocks and the crystals, mushrooms have that same capacity.
and
So, like
it
I said,
and Americans and other Europeans are going to the Amazon jungle, interacting with the tribes,
right,
and they're talking about how the tribes have a menu also of mushrooms, and how they use mushrooms to cure certain ailments and cure
right,
rapidly serious ailments that one gets in the jungle, and
yes.
they go after the fungus attached to the mushroom.
Well, if you, according to my daughter Kai Wingo, you can go on YouTube. You can go on Facebook. Some of her lectures are there. and she even said that mushrooms could cure mental illness. I mean, she has um, a lot of different lectures that she's done. You have to look it up on YouTube or go to
Okay.
Facebook. Yeah,
All right.
WINGO. Yeah.
I just know that when I started listening years ago to the Psychonaut, the psychedelic man, Terrence McKenna, he
Mhm.
was he was an acid head. Oh, well, he was a hallucinogen taker throughout his adult life. In fact, he started as a teenager. And
Mhm.
besides talking about the virtues of mushroom hallucinogens,
Mhm.
psilocybin and all that, he also talked about the physical healing powers, and that's when I started hearing about it. How he was fighting against bronchitis and flus and skin rashes and so forth with various mushrooms. And again, all about really strange to me knowing which fungus you need.
That's incredible.
Hmm. And later on, and now uh, especially with people going to the Amazon, where so many ancient practices are still observed. They're claiming that much of the what has been said about mushrooms and fungus and all that is proving to be true by them observing the use of it by these Amazon natives. So there you go on that. All I knew about mushrooms was athlete's foot.
Uh, to- Totally unrelated note. Completely unrelated out of nowhere. You just reminded me Jane Goodall, where apparently in Africa there is actually this ongoing debate between scientists about, you know, how gorillas and chimpanzees they have these human like characteristics, so they self medicate, for example. Yeah, they do. They do. They use herbs and stuff like that to treat wounds, etc., etc. So there's this ongoing debate between scientists if it's whether these chimpanzees or gorillas learned this from the villages of humans that was nearby, or was it the humans that had learned from them?
Hmm.
But
Mhm.
Okay.
you know, sorry, this is a completely unrelated note, but yeah, just thought I'd throw that in there.
Okay. Well, on to abstract on that, I listened to a guy on YouTube say about addiction. I quit alcohol long ago, so I went through that process cold turkey, and I never looked back and never regretted
Mhm.
because I had to quit. It wasn't about a moral imperative. It was about
Mhm.
you come to the end of your road. But nonetheless, so I don't obsess on it because I'm comfortable being what they call sober.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Uh, um, but what I'm getting at is this guy was on there and he was saying that rats, rats that were put in a wire cage were fed heroin water. And he found out that they started refusing their nutrient coming through a hose that they could suck from and kept returning to the heroin water. And they became junkies. Okay, that's all right. So we know that. And then he said, we did the experiment feeding free roaming rats in Chicago. That is to say, rats that lived in parks and came out at night, as urban rats do. And he said they took a taste of the heroin water and after two or three encounters, gave it up without a struggle and went back to clean water. And he determines that the reason why, he said the cage rats saw no future. And so they just kept drinking the heroin. And free roaming rats had a purpose in life. So they had a taste and then gave it up. And he
Wow.
said, he then theorizes that this is truly the root of addiction, psychological. Um, People who see no way out are more prone to addiction, and
Mm,
people who
mm, mm.
see a way out are less prone to addiction. And
Wow.
I thought that was pretty convincing until I remembered um, all the individuals from the 80s who had so much money, Studio 54, that they could consume cocaine around the clock because they could afford it. So they did have a way out and they still got strung out. So I'm not, I don't know whether that man with the rat experiment has concluded something so that's what I observed. I mean, that's what I
I
But
viewed
then
mean,
on.
I mean,
scenario.
rich people, like they always say that they struggle with the anxiety of what the fuck am I gonna do with all this money? How the hell do I keep it? And do I avoid losing it? And they hire all these lawyers and accountants to make sure that it stays there, right? So maybe money made them more anxious. I don't know. This is just
It
something.
There's
can, yeah.
a third scenario too. Is they are also using it, thinking that it is a way out. That itself, within itself.
Uh, yeah, that's true. There's the delusion that this is my escape from anxiety, and it's okay because I'm at my best when I feel this way.
Right.
Uh, but as we say, those of us who are recovered addicts, we have a joke that say, first you take the drink, then the drink takes you.
That's
First
true.
you, and when we talk about hard drugs, we're not talking about weed, we're not talking about psychedelics, but we're talking about, heroin and morphine and
Right.
coke, speed, whatever. And the same thing. First you take the drug, then the drug takes you.
That's true. Okay, I have another poem I'd like to read. If
Please.
it's okay.
Please, by all means.
And
It's called.
Ronald is also invited to follow you when you're finished.
Okay. This one's called A Better Me, and I wrote this in 2015. And I had to use it yesterday on somebody that was in recovery, and they were using other people's accomplishments to compare to themselves.
Ah,
And I had to pull this poem out and send it to you.
okay. All right.
And again, it's called A Better Me. If I examined or compared myself next to the greatest person that ever was, that would place no feather in my cap. If I became greater still than Muhammad Ali, still that would be no proof nor treasure in my lap. If I sailed the ocean, navigated without a map, measured up to the greatest captain that ever sailed the sea, I still would not feel fantabulous like my worth on earth complete. To thine own self be true is the universal law. Unless I fill my own two shoes and stand on my 2 feet, the task is fulfill my purpose now, or my purpose I defeat. To know what, my who, my how, to know my what, my who, my how. Many before me were great. On that I must agree. And from them I've been inspired. The righteous workings of my soul is only my test. But being better than myself will be my all time best. The Creator hears my plea. God, make the best of me. Let me be true to me. The only person I need be better than, strive to be better than, is me. In peace.
Okay. And a couple days ago, I heard that's good. I heard that who who is the author of that? To thine own self be true. That goes back a couple hundred years,
Yeah, cliche. Well,
and
it became a cliche, but I think it's one of the better cliches.
it's attributed to somebody in literature. I don't know if it's Shakespeare, somebody that was, you know, um, before the 20th century, and it just caught on because it's a lot of wisdom,
Yes.
and that's much of genius is, genius is not just building complex, putting complex components together for a whole. Genius can also be taking a look at a very complex situation and reducing it to a simple explanation. You
Yes.
know that? And that's genius. And they so a good example is Albert Einstein. He looked at the laws of physics and was thinking about gravity and quantum mechanics, looking past Isaac Newton. And with all that complex field, he reduced it to E equals mc squared. And that's why the world declared him a genius, because when they wrote it out and thought it out, they said, "Wow, Albert, you just expressed an entire new universal theory in 6 characters."
There's a
So,
quote. There's a quote by Albert Einstein where he says, "If you cannot explain it simply, then you don't understand it well enough."
oh,
You know, so and it's so true. It's so true. You know.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. Jack Kerouac writes about that in Big Sur. He says, over and over in my mind, cliches. Well, uh, cliches are used because they're true. That's all.
yeah.
That's right.
He's right. He's very, very right.
All right. So, wow. Okay. Um, so, how about you, Ronald? Would you like to read something for us?
Sure, why not? This one was in the, can't even see it, Foreign Literary Review.
Whoa.
Uh,
Okay.
and this is actually a true event. It's called Jim at Père Lachaise.
Oh, okay.
It was Paris in 1984. I was there with a girl who shall remain nameless.
Hmm.
We stumbled through the Père Lachaise, the cemetery that is home to Balzac, Delacroix, Colette, Oscar Wilde, Molière, Piaf, and the wall of the Communards. But we weren't there for any of them. Our mission was singular and specific. We were there for Jim. After wandering aimlessly with a dead celeb's map that confused more than helped, we came upon a portly, mustachioed gendarme surrounded by 5 or 6 young people whom he seemed to be amusing with his tales. My French was awful, and my companion's was not much better, but we managed to get our points across. Pardonnez-moi, I said in an accent I was sure was thoroughly incomprehensible. Où est Jim? My companion chirped in a voice that dripped charm and delight, despite the oddness of her query. The gendarme smiled, and his friends laughed amiably. Americain, he chuckled to the others, then turned to us. Took from his pocket the same map we used and traced the way with a pencil. I did not understand one word out of his mouth, but his instructions were clear. We wished them all bonjour and hit the trail mapped out for us. In no time at all, we stood before Jim Morrison's grave. I was surprised when no shiver ran down my back. My Catholic friend said a prayer. I, being a jaded agnostic for years, just pulled out my vampires poem and dug a small hole and buried it, and then we left. We were lucky to see the white marble or ceramic bust of Jim that decorated the sepulchre. Not long after, the bust would be stolen either by a loving fanatic for his her pleasure or by a nasty vandal for resale. It would have been helpful if we had been able to ask that gendarme the way out, but we had not. And we went in a different direction and couldn't have found our way back to him anyway. Much later, we emerged, tired and sweaty. Excuse me. Much later, we emerged, tired and sweaty and grateful, from Père Lachaise and found our way to the metro. Strangely, we were not transformed, immolated in flames, or transfigured in any other way after seeing Mr. Morrison's grave. The wall of the communards was nicer, my companion declared about the monument we had passed on our way to Jim and I, much later in life, sorely regretted passing on Balzac, Moliere, and Wilde. That's it.
Yeah, that's a true story. I've been there a few times. If just to find it is a major, major task. Now,
Yes.
you said there was a marble structure surrounding the grave, did you?
Yeah, there was a bust of Jim Morrison. It was about 2 feet high, I think, and it stood right in the center of the grave. Um, but someone stole it. Um, they either, you know, it was either a fan who took it because they loved Jim, or it was somebody who took it maybe for resale. I don't know, but they never replaced it, as far as I know.
Well, you're right, because I got there many years later. And for all these people from around the world to go see Jim Morrison's grave, I was one of them. You may recall that it's a very, very small piece of dirt,
Yes.
maybe 3 feet by 3 feet squared, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And it had a marker on it, Jim Morrison, and the dates. It was the most modest grave site of anybody, let alone somebody world famous.
Yeah.
And they had to put a wire fence around that small piece of dirt that covered him because the tradition was to tribute Jim Morrison by pouring alcohol on the grave, leaving cigarette butts on the grave. Yes, this was a popular tradition by people. So finally, the cemetery people said that enough of that as well.
Yeah. There weren't any cigarette butts, or I don't think there was any liquor poured when I was there, but I can imagine people doing that.
Yeah, so that's what they did. And when I got there were cigarette butts and wine bottles and beer cans not far from the actual gravesite, where people thought they were giving him homage
Yeah.
that way, which is something you do in New Orleans when you go see the tomb of the Voodoo Queen. Uh,
Hmm.
and that's understood. But Jim Morrison's grave, no, that was just a spontaneous reaction. You know,
Yeah.
I want
go ahead,
me.
Vicky.
I just want to
Yeah.
say that sometimes a poet doesn't get famous, but his poem gets famous, and sometimes you don't recognize that poem, and um, you don't know like where did that poem come from, where did that thought come from, and there was a very not very famous poet called Walter Wintle that wrote Walter D. Wintle, and he wrote this poem called Thinking, and I wanted to read that because it's a
Okay.
famous poem that nobody knew about him because there's not much about him on.
Okay.
His name is Walter D. Wintle, and there's little known about him except he was a poet. He lived in the late 19th and early 20th century,
Hmm.
and there's not much details about his life. Um, he's best known for writing the world famous poem Thinking. And that's the one I'm going to read for you all.
Please go ahead.
If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out of the world we pine. Success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but soon or late, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. Walter Winter, 1905.
All right, there's some good common sense. Um, I know this. That exists between two groups who think they're the best, whether they're recognized as such or not. And that happens to be uh, guitarists and comics, stand-up comics. It is understood in the arts that virtually every guitarist in his private mind thinks he's the best. And I heard famous comedians, around Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr, these people saying that, repeating the same thing. They said it's true with comics. Any comic, as obscure or young as he or she may be, they they go up there automatically saying, "I'm the best," and they say, like your poet friend Walter, it's a necessary part of the mindset. That's what they say.
It's true.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
And then there,
the little engine that could.
yeah,
You
okay.
remember that the children's story, the little engine that could. I think I
Oh
can.
yeah, yeah. The little engine. Yeah. And then conversely, there are people who are convinced that they're better or the best, and you come across them and you go, "Nah,
No,
not today." But I think with these comics, we're talking about for themselves and guitarists, and was simply that uh, you may realize that other people outrank you in your profession, that you're not Carlos Santana, that you're not Chris Rock or Bill Burr or Dave Chappelle or George Carlin or whoever.
Yeah,
But
but that goes back to being the
but you
best
have to,
you that you can be. Don't compare yourself
right.
to other people. Do the best
They're saying, but
with what you
right,
have.
that's it. That if you think you can't win, you won't. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah. All right.
Well, are we gonna hear some more poetry today?
Uh,
What about you,
well,
Mo? You haven't done. You haven't given us.
that's
Yeah.
because that's because I've been feeling like I read so many poems up to the last 10 weeks or whatever it is, 12 weeks. I was wondering what I might have to offer. That wouldn't sound redundant to people.
What about
I-
engineer Mo? I haven't heard anything from him. He left early last week.
Yeah. What about you, Mohammed?
I'm
Yes.
in the same. I'm in the same mindset as Mo. I mean, uh, I'm also worried that I sound redundant. I mean, I can read one of my old poems. That's the best I can
Then you should. Then you should.
do. All right. Well, here's here's a poem that I'll be reading for the 120th time. Uh, let's see. But
First time for me.
well, that's good. That's good because it's my favorite.
Okay.
Oh,
Mm,
okay.
yeah.
We're
All
being
right.
treated.
There is a misconception that Frankenstein is the monster. The name actually belongs to the man who made him. In the story, he is referred to as wretch, monster, it. In the story, he is as nameless as depression.
Mm.
If Frankenstein wrote a poem instead, a prose from the bones of his closet, maybe it'd be the meaning his monster wished he had. His heart must have been a faucet for trauma, or maybe trauma was a faucet for his heart. Maybe stitching limbs into a sad monstrosity was easier. After all, a poem can sometimes resemble a soul too much. Hitler dreamed of being a painter. It was easier to wage world war and exact genocide than give life to a white canvas. Had he written stanzas, he'd probably see the reflection the mirror tried to show him before it was too late. Hate is the cheapest commodity a soul can buy to make sense of things. A
Hmm.
twisted declaration of self-love attempting to spin itself into the shape of a heart that disfigured itself, configured itself to a fidgeting shelf of lies it tells itself. She was the pages Frankenstein could have written on. He was the canvas Hitler could have painted on. Hate is an emptiness that shaped itself into the ghosts the artists were never honest enough to see in themselves. Give a virus the pen of fate. We've been tempting it for too long. Watch it rearticulate the designs of neglect men are too afraid to admit. While the world bands together to usurp a world menace, remember how dolphins and swans swam back to Venice, how a clear sky hurried back to China like the father kicked out by his prodigal sons, or how a son finally got to see his father up close. Give a virus a pen and it'll make a poem out of all of you, shoving your New Year's resolution list down the shredder, reminding you of a world full of consequences, making you second guess second chances, even the man you voted for in the elections. The coronavirus is laughing at your makeshift toilet rolls made of your CVS receipts, terrorizing supermarkets more than the kids you feared crossing the borders. If Frankenstein wrote a poem, maybe he could have found love instead. If Hitler painted a painting, who knows?
Yeah.
OMG. No wonder you love me, Mo. You just as crazy as I am. That was so dope. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Ain't that
I,
poem dope? And ain't that
that
true? Ain't that real?
man, listen. When he said taking the receipts from and rolling them up and using them for makeshift toilet tissue, I'm like,
That is 100 COVID, doesn't it? That's keeping it 100 on COVID, man. And,
oh, oh my
and some
God.
and some
And then
people.
how he intermingled Frankenstein in with that, and I don't even know where it went and where it came back to and how it came back together, but you did that. That was crazy. That was awesome.
Yeah, Mo's a
Wow.
poet. Mo's a
That
poet.
reminded that reminded me. I thought I was gonna get put out the group when I did that poem about Poe coming back from the grave, about talking about how to handle the president, our president of today. That was
Yeah.
so funny. And I'm thinking, wow. And then here's Mo. Like that was great. That was great. Imaginative. Um, the pen. What did you say about the pen?
uh,
In the
give a virus the pen of fate. Um, you know, because the idea is that these men Hitler and Frankenstein they're essentially they've become the monsters that they became because they have failed to
yes.
express their demons. So
Wow.
the when I say give a virus the pen of fate, I imagine that we've neglected being honest with ourselves to the point where we let the virus do all the writing. You know,
Mm.
you know. So
Wow.
yeah, that's just how.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm totally a fan. That was great. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
doing that.
And there's an anecdote to that that goes right along with what you're saying, Mo.
Hit me.
Charles Manson, Charles Manson.
Yeah, do
He
I know?
he had imagined himself to be a world famous singer-songwriter on guitar singing. And he was so persuasive before he got into his mania that I think he got John Lennon's attention. And
My God.
the industry actually issued an album of Charles Manson when he was a young man, and it went nowhere. And this infuriated him. And because by that point, because of his LSD cook up, he made the best LSD around. He was meeting famous singers like John Lennon, like David Crosby, like people from the Beach Boys. And he felt that, hey, I'm one of you. It's just I haven't been recognized properly yet. And so, like if Hitler had stayed with painting, maybe if Manson would have stayed with music.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and I actually saw the album. Somebody showed me the album, and it's got a picture of him on it, and none of the songs are memorable.
I wonder if it would be worth a lot of money today.
I'll bet. You know that? I'll bet.
For vanity, yes. Like people will pay for the shit. They will.
Oh, they pay for Hitler relics and all them ugly people relics.
Yeah.
They're very, very proud. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you were saying, Vicky, that I should read a poem, I think. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to read you the poem that I really am connected to, that I really thought I was fulfilled as a feeling poet. That I read this poem before groups, and maybe because of their age, they just give me kind of a neutral stare.
Okay.
Okay, here's and when I first started reading
We'll
in
give
this,
him a neutral stare.
yeah, like when I first started reading this poem to the public, I thought internally, here I go, I'm going to read that incredible poem, save it for the right point in the reading or my last poem, and I'm really going to wow them over. And I would read it, and I would look at the audience, and they would go, uh-huh. Now, since I feel myself accomplished as a poet, who can always do better, but since I feel myself accomplished, I just had a disappointment rather than a Charlie Manson, Adolf Hitler failure, which is why I'm not behind bars today.
Thank God.
So, and this poem's been translated into French and into Arabic. As I have a complete collection rendered in Arabic by an Arab translator. Okay, so here's what it's called. It's called Oblivion Magic. And whoop, I lost my screen again on this. Am I there?
Yeah, you are. You are.
Okay.
We can see you. You're.
I can hear
We'll
you.
see you.
Okay, now I got it. Okay, here we go. So if it just leaves you with a neutral feeling, you're in line with other listeners.
We'll try to stare less neutrally.
No, you got, now look, you got, I'm not asking you to do something other people have not done.
Give us a
Don't give me
chance.
don't
Give
give me
us a
no
chance.
bullshit. Worst thing you
Don't
can
give
do
us-
is don't give me no bullshit.
Don't precondition me then. Just let me hear the piece.
No, but I love to tell people the truth about this poem.
I know, but wait till let me have my own opinion. I don't want to be like sit there staring and then say, "Oh my God, he hypnotized me into staring at him." And
Okay. No, I'm not trying to pull any tricks. I remember
come on.
seeing audiences average age 22, 25, they just go, huh? All right, here we go.
Okay.
It's called Oblivion Magic.
Okay.
Unity, bread to the mouth, milk to the lips, tongue to the nipple, tenderloin bathes in the honey of your hive, tender pleasures our lives, separate and shared, under my sun, your moon, round as butt cakes, cupped in my hands, yours upon my cheeks, descending deep wells of your eyes. set fires of orgasm and prayer, fires of orgasm and prayer, burning us to death and rebirth. We give one to another that we may lie and rise again, horizons broad, as curved shoulders we clutch with melting fingers, the final moment, letting go everything precious this life gives us such short time.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
Really?
ay, 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 ay.
Does it ring a bell, you guys?
Wait a minute. I'm meditating. I'm meditating because what I'm seeing is this man making love to a lactating woman, grabbing her ass, and then he discharges
Hear that?
to the moon.
I hear a
Uh,
man.
Go ahead.
then he discharges and shoots. You know, she's just had a baby, so she's still lactating, and he's making this love to her, holding on to her shoulder. So then he discharges this a lot of shooting up to the moon, steaming all the way up to the moon of her. Right, that's under his sun, under his her moon is right up under her him, the sun. So I was still imaging. Um, that's where it took me.
Well, I'm gonna have to have you write the review of that poem, Vicky, because you got me larger than life on that appraisal.
Mm.
Okay.
Good.
We got a new
I
we got a new visitor.
yes, we do, and I think his name is Dane. Can you unmute Dane?
Yes, hi everybody. Just dropping in here. Sorry I'm late.
No,
Well, that's all right. We're having a quiet night as it is anyway, so it's okay.
and you
All right.
just
Where in
read
the
a great poem.
Well, thank you. So we're talking about a poem of mine that young people just look at me like, duh. And so I was admitting that happens when I read it before crowds. I admit that happens.
Mhm.
The younger they are, the more duh is their response. So what did you think, Ron?
Ron, are you muted?
Yeah, Ron, you're muted, Ron. Hey Mo, I'll be right back, okay?
Maybe that's Ron's way of saying, I don't think anything.
I think it was
I'll be
great.
right back.
You really feel there. You really feel in the presence when you're reading it. You really feel like you're there, experiencing it. It's great.
Okay. Well, I wish you all pleasurable, sensual, spiritual orgasms.
That was
So,
great.
all right. That's very interesting for me because truly, reading it before open mic, open stage audiences in Paris, the average
Hmm.
age is 25 years old.
Okay.
And unfortunately, in this generation, my generation believed in free love, even to the point of detriment, say,
What's the
to
name of it again?
oblivion magic. My obsession my obsession for a long time was to unify the spirit and the flesh and not divide them as was so popular. If you're in spirit, you don't need flesh. I was always someone who agreed with certain practices in yoga and with in Brazil and other places that celebration of the flesh with celebration of the spirit is a good thing. And of course, since the '60s, there were newcomer Buddhists, Michael McClure and other people, who simply said, leave the flesh totally behind to be free. And I always thought, through the spirit, wake up your flesh. No, really, I really do believe that today too. So the spirit should help me celebrate my flesh, as well as experiences that are beyond articulation. Also, like natures of the cosmos and existence and things like that. So That's been my obsession. I've written poems about that. Um, so there we go. And so, okay. And so you, let me see here, Dane, where in the world are you at this moment?
San Francisco.
Oh, okay. So it's like what, 2:30?
Almost 2 o'clock. Almost 2 o'clock.
Okay, good enough. Do you know, well, we have a couple San Franciscans who join us from time to time.
Mhm.
Okay. Anyway, so are you a poet?
Rumored to be so, yes.
Hi, Dan. Dane. Dane. Okay. Hi, Dane.
I'm writing words, and so whatever that is,
Mm,
it is.
okay. Well, we dare to call ourselves poets, whatever that means, and we're very open-minded and tolerant about different manners of expression. So, do you want to present some of your work to us tonight? Well, tonight in
Yeah,
Paris.
yes, I can. I can. Let me hold on a second. Let me see if I can. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me. Yeah. I want to get something up here that I can
Okay.
read. Yes, I'd love to.
Well, we'd like to hear it. Yes.
Okay. What I did on my summer vacation. Woke up, coffee, watched CNN, watched Cats, ate a banana, wrote a Trump sketch. I made a fresh pot of coffee, watched a comedy special, entered my daily futile protest on Twitter, on Facebook, sent unwanted poems, was invited to read on Sunday, entered my futile daily protest on Facebook, replied to emails, contemplated attachment thinking. I used to wonder, but now I've lived long enough, through enough stuff to know the answer is it's just me. No one is coming to the rescue. Contemplated mindfulness, my idea of it or theirs. What is the purpose of flesh if it's not for touch? Just a bag to hold the blood and guts in? Listened to tango music, petted Callie as she demanded, replied to my late wife's sisters, thanking her for the flowers, sobbed deeply, fully, completely, loudly, and as long as sobs needed to be released, and for what seemed like forever. But it was probably a minute and 12 seconds tops. Felt better, watched cats sleep, watched cats snuggle, watched cats go crazy over fresh birthday flowers from my late Karen, wondered what to have for breakfast, grated Costco cheese to fill a gallon bag full, just rewrote that last line, a blend of cheddar, Gruyere, Bavarian, Emmentaler, wondered if everything is dwelling in the past. Can I write a poem right now, in this moment, and still be present? Just reread this thing several times. Wonder why Microsoft Word knows how to spell Bavarian, but thinks Emmentaler is emmantled. Look up emmantled. The word you have entered in the dictionary isn't in the dictionary. Check on the spelling suggestion below, or try again to search. Try using the search bar above. No, no trying, just do. Thank you, Star Wars. Automatic writing. Get ready to read at a Zoom event. Think about reading at another Zoom event. Looked up the word gestalt. Tango music playing. Cat sleeping. I sigh. I put on pants. Make bacon. Eat bacon. Think about pigs. It sucks to be a pig. Slice an avocado in two. Remove the seed. Fill each half of the avocado with mild salsa. Eat the avocado. I wrote this just now so I could see the word avocado in my mind and repeat it again and again. It is an avocado chant. Thank you.
All right. Hey, that reminds me of passages I recently read from Jack Kerouac's novel Big Sur, where, the weather is shit. I'm thinking of Cody. I'm cooking up sausages. There's a mouse on the floor.
Yeah.
Where was I on that long drive coast to coast? Wait, there's a hoot owl above. Who am I? He ran it like that throughout the book, Big Sur, where he just wonders in that Kerouacian style.
Yeah.
And it
That was great.
tells me who wants every line to flow into every line, that Kerouac just did free verse and it flowed. It's a reminder to me. you know.
Oh, great, great. Well,
Not-
thank you. And boy, that's an awesome comparison. But I just am, and that's just an artifact of
Mhm.
of what was. Not trying to
Okay.
be something, but just
Was
it's
you.
just an avocado chant, man.
Yeah,
Cool.
cool, man. Yeah, he talks about that with tomato sauce.
All right,
And I,
there you go.
and I dip my finger into tomato sauce and I'm there. I'm fucking there.
Yeah, yeah,
After he talked about existential crisis.
right, right.
Yeah. So, okay, do you have another one for us, Dane?
Oh, yeah, I do. Hold on a second. Here, let me go through.
And while you're looking, I want to welcome one of our longtime poet members, David Leo Siwa. Hello, David.
Hello. Thanks
Good
for
to-
welcoming me.
Yeah,
Glad to
good
be
to see,
here.
good to see
Better
you.
late than never. Thank
That's
you.
right. Right. Hey, we're on
That's what
Poets
they
Time.
say.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mo.
Oh, okay, so David, I mean Dane. I'm sorry, Dane. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So I got this one up. Ramey Tush. In the beginning, Coyote ate a dung bug. That bug rolled him. The lesson is yet learned, rolling down the mountain still. I speak to you from San Francisco, formerly the land of the Ohlone, where they spoke Ramaytesh, the language of the people from the West. Today, on fentanyl dusty streets, a sad ballad of lost characters who imagine they are real, dreaming to trade fantasy for the pain of blood pumping until it no longer does. The spirits of ancestors roam everywhere, declares Connects with Streetcar, sells poems for money. A man did not listen to the proclamation. He never listened, never stopped talking, shaking her head, bringing her hand to her forehead with her finger in the shape of an L, connects with streetcars, rolls his eyes and just keeps rolling his cigarette. Members unborn to a tribe by the convenience of society, they gather scattered encampments by the lagoon of sorrows. Crying, I cry now. Hurtful, hateful, boiling flow, river tears weeping, laughing coyote and crow. Trick us again, nothing lasts. Killing, death, murder of crows, laugh and play, tricking coyote me. Slow, slow to get the joke on me. Loneliness, darkness, all in fun. Today I love fear. Horror, terror, hugging me, calamity, cawing crows, dark skies, my doom. Coyote just scratches fleas. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So I got to ask you, like, did you come up reading a lot of beat literature, or was it just a natural flow, independent of that influence?
You know, I'm aware of it, but I'm not. It's just it just what this is just. I'm yeah. It's in there. It's in there somewhere, but I'm not consciously trying to make that a thing. You know.
Yeah, sure.
I dug it. I dig it. You know, but it's not, and it's in there somewhere. But that's not what I'm trying for. This is just how the words present themselves to me.
Right. For you, yeah. Okay, that's clear also.
Wow.
Your voice stands out. I'm not saying you're remaking. It just sounds like you've got that nice free flow beat.
Well,
Uh,
it's nice to find a place where the thing fits, you know. It reminds people of this other thing. So I like that. I like that it does, as opposed to, like you were saying, if you performed in front of an audience and they went duh, you know. So you have a handle to hang this on because it's similar to or like or the things that were effective you know, in that previous communication are things that still work and
okay.
still make a connection.
Well, I want to compliment you for this reason too, an anecdote that here in Paris, we have a couple very large open stage spoken word stages that have been going on for 10 years.
Mhm.
And one of them likes to do beat night, the suggested theme for all the participants. It's suggested
Right.
is beat. And a lot of people come up and go, yeah. And the problem is nobody reads beat.
Right.
but we celebrate it by suggested topic.
Right.
And so you should go before young people like that and say, when the topic is beat, uh, read your Kerouac, your Burroughs, your Kaufman,
Yes.
and
Yes.
if you share, if you wish, if you share a sentiment like that or a style like that, do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only because, uh, 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 I went to those readings, of course, very enthusiastically, and thought, yeah, I have a beat poem. I have a beat poem, and like you, I'm not imitating anybody, but I readily admit I am influenced deeply by some of the beats.
I
And
think the practitioners of the day refer to it as a state of mind or a state of experience,
yeah,
and that he was kind of what they lived through. They weren't trying to be beat; they were beat.
yeah, you got it, brother. You got it. Beat was a state of mind, like hip hop is a state of mind.
Yeah.
Cool,
And,
Daddy.
yeah, and beat was a state of mind.
Yes.
And what it is to be a beatnik: wine, reefer, traveling. It's all of that,
Cool,
man.
Daddy.
It's all of that. If you can dig the Doug,
Yeah, I think I dig it. Yes.
a state of mind. Remember, Ginsburg and them were saying, well, we're in the age of the atomic bomb age and mass consumerism and all that. So we feel alienated. Right, we're beat.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Big
want
fan
out
of
of it.
those.
Yeah,
Big-
they went so far out they became centerfold in.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what we call three's a charm? Do you have a third one for us, Dane?
Oh. Hold on a second here. It'll take me to.
Take a minute.
Oh. Well, let's see. Let's see if I can find this. I don't know. Hold on a second here. Yeah, I have a third one, but it's just a question of. That's funny. Hold on a second. I'm looking.
Well, that's all right. Yeah. We don't have a gong. This ain't the gong show.
Oh, it's not the Gong Show. That's good. Oh, I know what I did was I put it in there and then I erased it.
Oh,
But no, I have a copy of it. It's just that. Well, let me just read something that's. Oh, I really want to read this one. Let me. Hold on.
well, you know what, Dane? If you need some time to find it,
Yeah, let me look for it and then I'll chime in when I find
okay, keep your ears open to the next fantastic poet
Oh.
while you're looking for your poem.
it. All right.
How's that? So the
That's-
next poet I'd like to call up who has joined us, is David Leo Siwa. And I'd like to invite him to read. Hello,
Thanks a
David.
million. Hello. Had a wonderful time yesterday at 100,000 Poets for Change. I don't know if you tuned in.
No, I missed it.
So
I missed it.
gotcha. Yeah. Well, I'm going to read the poem that I read there, and it's called "Nectar is the Best Medicine."
Oh.
Dearest ghost, whose name I've never known, tell me what you must teach at this time. David, the world leans its loud mind against our windows, puts us in a trance of trepidation, a palpable presence in our heads, fed on statistics of illness and images of violent unrest. Sword to wield against ourselves, threaten our weakest moments with wounds of uselessness and cowardice, as we exile our own power because we don't see we have any. We are not the slain victims of the nightly news report, catalog of atrocities that keep us held by beds where we don't want to wake up yet, threatened by the thought of what the day ahead harbors, duties done with distaste, frightening surprises that hide in blind spots. What are you afraid of, David? You meet that question with mute musings. The deepest answer is nothing. Thread the eye of your heart's needle with the string of continuous awareness and stitch a richer fabric of reality than what you now wear as worldly work uniform, customary costume. We are all cut from the same cloth. Bring your attention to the baseline of your humanness, skin, bone, and blood. Heart that still beats its bass drum. Mind that makes you see what you believe. Our souls are steeped in light that turns the universe. Underneath the showy poet costume of the character you play on the stage of the spoken world, jacket, top hat, and twilight dress shirt unbuttoned down to your heart. Far behind your indigo eyes shines fluid, formless consciousness. 7 billion minds of people planted on this planet, but only one awareness. Blank canvas we all carry. Behind its pale presence and the driftwood of history in our heads, plus the endless train of anxious anticipations. Pause to turn within and taste the fresh nectar of God's intoxicating, hypnotic silence.
Well, now that's a, I have said to many people, life's a bitch, and we are certainly confronted, and I am certainly repulsed by a lot of what's going on. But I will not resign myself to perpetual misery, perpetual self-suffering, even in sympathy with those who have it worse off than me, because I believe, and I think you're expressing it. I only have one life to live, so I might as well include the music and the dance and the love along with the lamentations.
Yeah, nice one.
So
Exactly.
I totally agree with your sentiment about, but what should we do? And often I say back, I think you should sing and dance.
Right. I love it. Yeah.
Well, can we hear another one, David?
I would love that. This is called Broad Magnetic Clouds. I've been revising it since 2012 or 13.
Cool.
All that time revising that piece of shit.
That's
right.
that's what Nora Joyce said to James, and she was wrong.
Oh, wow.
You still writing that? God damn it! Pay the rent.
Nice, of course. Get real. Broad magnetic clouds attempt to touch these metal rooftops. We prepare ourselves for mysteries, see darkness, distance, silence from our cells of glass and wood as dusk draws to a close. These eyes unlock my head. Am I ready for who I truly am? Can I face my own face and false concepts that keep me from being consciousness bliss? Led through the memory-laden sense of fireplaces, I always walk in the past, where what matters becomes food for the god of forgetfulness. The eager future passes time. I will never let my eyes turn to concrete. Your eyes are in every window pane, flame's deep blue iris, the reflection of a street lamp in globes of rain on an unpeopled bench, red neon trapezoid announcing a tobacco lotto bar, green figure of a walking man signaling the thrill of free will to cross the street on the stage of spoken words. Your eyes, the immeasurable heaviness of knowing, and the mystical stillness of a pool of sidewalk water before a florist's door. Your eyes, brick red lights, alert me to oncoming trains, drawing kindness from boundless wells. Your eyes, the unknown source of solitude. I murmur in your ear every secret you know.
Nice, nice.
Thanks, bro.
Okay, that's a good one. Here we go. I
Thanks,
like
man.
this. We are stepping out of the box tonight. That is great.
That's
You-
nice.
Yeah, can you, as we do here, can you give us threes a charm?
Thank you, thank you. Well, this one is completely ridiculous. And okay, it's
Said the
called
Buddha.
man. Right. It's called man boobs. By the power of my growing man boobs, I stand in solidarity with every woman in the world. Happy Independence Day. I know you know what I mean. Remember, you are the creator of your own destiny, said my guru, who is a woman. Heck, my own mom is a woman. Did you know? Did you know motherhood is next to saintlyhood? In the beginning, on my B day, I was truly a naked poet. Birth made me so wet, like a woman in the presence of her particular knicker melter. I know 'tis a no-no to speak of this in pubic, I mean public. Too bad, Davius Maximus. It's always too late to change the past. Though any doctor or detective could find proof that I am a man and anatomically correct, I am so in touch with my feminine side that each month for a few days I bleed. Poetry pass through the agony and the ecstasy of my mood cycle. The moon looks down affectionately and secretly thinks, this dude gets me. Ladies, don't let men tell you what to do. Zoot, I too just told you what to do. But by the depth of my beautiful blue eyes, I can see into the hearts of men. Women, not so much. Maybe that is why I worship them. You see, the landlord at my last address alternatingly addressed me as Monsieur and Madame. You see, like the boy king Tutankhamun, I am so handsome, I look almost feminine. To quote the Wei Groove Lao Tzu, I am different from ordinary people. I drink milk from the great mother's breasts.
All right. Well, all I can say, if you got it, flaunt it. The
Thank you guys.
animus, the animus. That was cool. What are do you get good feedback from that poem in these days of so much quick judgments and censorship and all that?
Luckily, well, I've only read it at Spoken World Online, and people were really laughing. But it's in the middle of me doing poems like I just did earlier about the media and other things that can really bring us down if we let them.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Well, just curious about that. That's good. That's good. We need to have
Thanks,
some
Mo.
humor. And, we need to have some humor today. And I'm glad to hear your humor. I know that when I don't have a sufficient amount of humor, that is an indication that I am not well. I
Yeah,
don't have to check my blood pressure. I don't have to do a urine test. I know if I don't have what I understand is a sufficient amount of humor, and much of it is, self-effacing humor, which I enjoy, then I'm not well, and I know that about
right.
myself. So,
Nice.
in these days, it's only to be expected that so much of the poetry is of resignation or fatalism, given the pandemic and
Right.
people like Trump and Black Lives
Yeah.
Matter and all that. And we have
Right.
to keep the comics remind us, and
Right.
comics that are coming out of the Black community, witnessing all are coming out with humor. To use one
Yep.
example,
Wow.
and I think more poets might want to understand why are comics making humor out of very sad things, because they understand too the vitality
Right.
of keeping one's sense of humor, like you just
Right.
did.
Thanks.
Okay.
And yet on the other side, my poems are finally engagé, like engaged in the world and not just in my ivory tower. So
Right.
I've
Right.
matured, Mo.
Well, well, yeah, I never thought, I don't see that poem as something in an ivory tower.
Well, I've
Anyway,
finally come out of it, is what I mean.
yeah, okay. Well, yeah. So did the Buddha.
Thanks, man.
You're an Orientalist, and so did the Buddha. I got to get up and walk, you people. And he said to all his devotees, I got to leave you now.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh,
So, now, Dane was searching for a poem. Did you find it, Dane?
Yes, I did. I did.
Okay.
All right. I don't think I can read this at the Wednesday night Belmont Ocean Shore Zoom social.
Why?
I fucked despair, rough, hard, long, fast, in despair's hairy, smelly ass. One of the best fucks ever. The laughing kind. Laughing so hard you think you may both not stop coming ever. And laughing you come again. Crying out in ecstasy, calling out to your favorite deity. We collapsed, idiots grinning, coffee stained yellow teeth. I smoked the last camel in the pack and again get hard, rock hard, cock standing straight up like a telephone pole, just a pulsing under hot Arizona summer sun. Come here, baby, get some of this. Despair is my bitch.
Ooh, wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I could see in this day and age how people uh, would decide that that's not agreeable to them. I could I
Yeah.
could see that. However, one of the interesting things I did find in here in Paris in open mics was women could explicitly discuss sexuality to other women in the poems, but and gay men could discuss explicit sexuality. But if a heterosexual male discussed sexuality as a woman, they were deemed aggressor or a predator.
Right.
And I just thought that's so fucking full of holes.
Mhm.
And I remember standing up to one group that criticized me, and I said, we can respect all the consciousness raising that is necessary, with sex, with gender, with race, with handicap, but we can also celebrate. We do not have to sever ourselves from healthy functions, sexuality being one of them.
Right.
And so, people would kind of squirm, and I'd go, that's right, young man, you have a perfectly good right to announce your feelings of sexuality. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right.
You know.
Why
So
you say
I remember that. And I want to welcome one of our trilingual poets, Carolyn Adler Micro. Hello, Caroline. You gonna unmute, Caroline? Okay, jiggle the handle.
No, it's d'habitude ça marche avec le raccourci clavier, et là ça marchait pas, je sais pas pourquoi.
Pourquoi? C'est un petit problème de trafic.
Oui.
Traffic ce soir. Who knows? Okay, well, welcome for you, and welcome to you. And so now, since Caroline is here, you are timely, can be called as our next poet. And so, what would you like to present, Caroline?
I found some romantic poem of Margaret Atwood.
You're one of your idols.
I found one.
Margaret, a romantic by Margaret Atwood?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to hear this.
Attends, wait.
Atwood Exposed. That's how we'll headline it. Atwood Exposed.
I think it's, where is it? I was very, very happy. Is it this one? No, it's this one. This one. It's a romantic one. Just the title is There is Only One of Everything. Not a tree, but the tree we saw. It will never exist, split by the wind and bending down like that again. And we'll push out of the earth later, making it summer. Will not be grass, leaves, repetition. There will have to be other words. When my eyes is closed, language vanishes. The cat with the divided face, half black, half orange, nests in my scruffy fur coat. I drink tea. Fingers curved around the cup, impossible to duplicate these flavors. The table and freight plates glow softly, consuming themselves. I look out at you and you occur. And this winter kitchen, random as trees or sentences, entering me, fading like them. In time you will disappear. But the way you dance by yourself, on the tile floor to a worn song, flat and mournful, so delighted, spoon waved in one hand, wisps of ruffled hair sticking up from your head. It's your surprised body pleasure I like. I can't even say it, though only once and it won't last. I want this. I want this.
Ooh, wow, that is hot.
Yeah, she can be romantic.
Whoa, Margaret Atwood Exposed. Okay, well, do you have another one for us, Caroline?
Yeah, let's see.
Picalina, Caroline.
So I'm looking for another, but
Okay.
I remember I wrote something in Spanish, but maybe it's there. It's in Spanish.
Está bien, muy bien. Español, sí.
Sí.
Comienza, por favor.
Ya no está. La casa ha desaparecido. No sé por dónde buscarla. Es como si no fuera jamás, pero tiene que haber sido. Si no, yo no estuviera aquí buscándola. ¿Qué ha hecho papá? Papá ha borrado los índices del pasado, la ropa, los hilos para coser, el bilbo. Y mi mini bici con 3 ruedas de metal azul y rojo que me había hecho daño un día. Hizo como si yo no fuera de la familia, como si no me concernaba. Estaba en una especie de paraíso con gente que no les conocían. No me di cuenta, no era real, ni podía ser, pero al volver, papá había borrado todo. Cuadro, casa, ropa, juegos, fotos, los muebles estaban en su casa algunos, pero ya no era la casa, sino otra. Otro día, había abandonado mi perro. Otro día, quedaban cajas con el contenido del buffet. Poco a poco el presente ha devorado el pasado, pero no puede tocar mis recuerdos. Sé que ha existido, lo sé, como el pasajero de una mujer desaparece de Hitchcock, lo sé, pero la diferencia es que mi nonna no está escondida. En punto de volver diciendo, ¡tarán! Me había escondido. No, ya no volverá nunca.
Nunca. Mi casa es su casa.
Mm,
Now that one. Okay. Such as the melancholy moments.
mm, mm.
Yeah. No, I forgot to ask you to tell us briefly what that poem was about, because
It
I should
was,
have asked you. I'm
it
sorry.
was, it was about, well, when I was a little girl, when I was 8, I went to Spain for holidays. And when I came back in Paris, there was no grandma nor her mother. They died both during the summer. My father didn't told us, and all the house and everything inside has disappeared. So and I just discovered uh, 2 days ago that maybe they are not buried at all. Maybe he didn't did it. Well, my grandma bought a tomb for her mother, but I'm not sure they transferred the body. And for my grandma, I don't know where she was buried because my pa told me she were in Normandy, and she's not. So it's a very strong poem about a woman disappeared of my life, but not in like in Hitchcock film. She's not just hidden in another part of the train and will come back and say, "Hey, I was just in another part and it was a game."
Okay.
No, she's not at all. Won't come back. So
Oof. Okay. Must
so
make must make for a challenging experience to do Kaddish.
yeah, it's
Yes.
a very, very good idea. I think I
Send
will
her.
read it and make all it's 7 days. I don't remember. And read it every day to
And
her.
think of the Hebrew word for healing, tikkun.
Tikkun?
Tikkun is Hebrew to heal.
Hmm,
And I hope that satisfies both your spirit and the
hmm.
spirit of your grandmother. Tikkun. Okay. Uh, all right. L'chaim. Okay. Do you have a third one, as we call it? Three's a charm.
Yes,
A
and
charm.
it's in French, but it's about Spain, and it's a very not funny, but it's a nice poem. It's
En
about
France.
the house. It's a strange house, very old, where my grandpa, but my mother's grandpa, was born, and it's in very little pueblo. in the mountain, and
A little village. Okay.
yeah, a little village and a very old house with, there are chickens inside and rabbits and a lemon tree in the middle of the stairs because there was one. She was dropping the aunt was dropping, les pépins by the window, and once there was a tree, so the tree
Okay.
stayed, and now when we want a lemon, we just have to go in the stairs and take it and come back home. It's funny.
Voilà, maintenant expliquer en français, si tu veux, un extrait de Le Petit Paradis. Allez.
Alors, visite de la maison. Depuis la rue, toutes les maisons se ressemblent. Il faut compter le nombre de stores pour savoir lequel soulever. Dans la partie haute, quand on rentre de la rue, la maison a l'air chic avec une belle entrée large flanquée de 2 chambres. Dans celle de gauche, il y a un téléphone que viennent squatter les voisins. La tante et l'oncle dorment dans celle de droite. Les deux donnent sur la rue. Après, ça s'élargit avec une grande salle et une grande table avec des chaises, la télé, une cheminée étrange, avec foyer à même le sol et une sorte de hotte géante au-dessus pour évacuer la fumée dehors. Je la trouve mystérieuse. Elle ne ressemble pas aux cheminées françaises avec leurs manteaux, leurs pare-feux, leurs conduits en briques et autres accessoires sympas pour agrémenter la déco des polars. Un bon coup de tisonnier et hop, un mystère mystérieux. Là, il n'y aurait pas de conduit de cheminée en surplomb au fond. On croirait qu'il n'y a pas eu, qu'il y en a une. On ne croirait pas qu'il y en a une dans la pièce. Dehors, on pourrait faire cuire un œuf, à même le sol. J'ai peine à croire qu'il puisse faire froid au village. Maman dit que si. Elle dit que c'est la montagne. Le soir, à table, on mange de la soupe au vermicelle avec du bouillon jaune safran avec des œufs huileux. Le repas est simple, mais j'aime bien. J'aime bien les choses pas compliquées, mais bonnes. La tia cuisine super bien. Pour le goûter, elle aime bien faire de la coca boba, sauf qu'elle rajoute de la poudre d'amande à la recette. C'est super bon. À gauche, en face de la cheminée, il y a une petite pièce avec le frigo, des étagères avec des trucs à garder un peu plus au frais. Après, il y a un escalier qui monte chez la cousine au-dessus. Sur la droite, en montant, il y a une porte qui donne dans une chambre qui sert de débarras. Mais avant, c'était une chambre. Elle a même un balcon, je crois. Mais elle est moins facile d'accès que les autres. Et la tente vieillit. Alors, on s'en sert pas. De l'autre côté de l'escalier qui descend, côté salle et cheminée, il y a une autre chambre qui s'ouvre dans le mur avec des petites marches pour y monter. C'est là qu'on dort quand on est là. Elle donne sur l'escalier. C'est calme et frais. Le matelas est en laine, il faut le taper et lui redonner forme avant de se coucher le matin. Il a pris l'empreinte de mon corps. C'est rigolo. La journée, il fait super chaud, mais la nuit, on peut dormir avec un drap sans problème, voire même avec le dessus-lit sur les pieds. C'est vrai que c'est la montagne. Entre ces deux chambres, par un escalier qui descend, flanqué d'un côté par une vieille horloge en bois et balancier qui fait tic-tac la nuit, de l'autre côté de grandes portes en bois toujours ouvertes en été, il y a un escalier en ciment tout usé qui descend en pente glissante de la partie haute à la cuisine, puis à un palier avec un évier extérieur avec partie lavoir en ciment pour frotter le linge, vestige de l'époque où il n'y avait pas encore de machine à laver. Dans cet escalier, à gauche, il y a un grand placard, puis la salle de bain et toilette avec des faucheux au plafond de la douche. J'aime pas les araignées, mais celle-là, elle bouge presque pas. En face, côté cuisine, ça fait un grand espace très bas de plafond sous la chambre. C'est là qu'on fait cuire la paella. Il y a aussi la machine à laver. La cuisine est toute petite avec une fenêtre. Un jour, en cuisinant, la tia a jeté les pépins de citron dehors. Un a germé et poussé au milieu des escaliers. Personne ne l'a arrêté. Maintenant, quand on veut un citron, on n'a qu'à sortir dans le patio et cueillir un citron sur l'arbre. C'est très pratique. Nous voici donc à côté du lavoir. À gauche, au même niveau, il y a un cagibi extérieur où la tia stocke des énormes sacs d'amandes. Il y a un marteau sur le bord du lavoir. Quand on veut en manger, on en prend et on casse sur une marche. Ce sont des amandes joufflues avec la coque lisse et douce à l'intérieur. C'est dur à casser sans écraser l'amande ni s'écraser les doigts. J'aime bien. En montant vers la terrasse, sur la gauche, il y a un poulailler qui s'ouvre dans le mur. Et après, on arrive sur une terrasse carrelée en carreaux en terre rouge. Ça crame horriblement. C'est là qu'on met le linge à sécher. On a à peine le temps de rentrer qu'on peut revenir le chercher. La vue est magnifique. On surplombe la vallée avec à gauche les vergers familiaux et le gros bâtiment avec les chambres froides et les cageots pour envoyer les fruits ensuite par camion. En redescendant à droite, quand on sort de la maison au niveau du lavoir, on passe sous la fenêtre de la cuisine, puis on tourne en lui faisant dos. Ça remonte jusqu'à un autre poulailler. On entre en premier dans une pièce avec des poules pondeuses dans des cages individuelles, avec sol en pente. Quand elles pondent, leur œuf roule et il n'y a plus qu'à passer le récupérer et le passer à la calibreuse ensuite. C'est très rigolo. J'adore venir ici avec Montse. Montse, c'est la plus jeune de mes cousines. Elle est un peu plus âgée que moi, mais elle ne travaille pas encore. Elle est très gentille et très patiente. Elle a le même regard doux que sa mère. Ça caquette de partout dans le poulailler. Les poules n'aiment pas trop être dérangées. Après, on redescend voir les lapins dans leur clapier, encore plus bas, au niveau de la grange, devenue garage, sous la terrasse, au linge et les poulaillers. Il y a encore l'enclos du cochon et les accessoires de l'âne, indice du temps d'avant ma naissance. Maman s'en souvient encore, c'est pas si loin, je les imagine. Les escaliers à l'intérieur de la maison, ils sont tout usés parce que l'âne, pour pas faire le tour, il passait par l'intérieur de la maison. Et ses sabots, bah, ils sont tout usés en passant. Dehors, il y a la rue et la fabrique. Ouais, je sais pas trop comment dire. Ils font qu'emballer des fruits et les conserver dedans. C'est pas une fabrique, un magasin, on dirait. Dedans, il y a que les cousins-cousines à raconter des blagues en mettant des fruits dans les cajots, en collant des belles étiquettes. Pour moi, c'est plus une prolongation de la maison. J'aime bien emballer les raisins. Les étiquettes sont rigolotes à coller à cheval sur la queue d'une grappe de temps en temps. Il n'y a pas de touristes ici. C'est trop loin de la mer. Mais on a un lavoir couvert où aller s'asseoir pour manger des pipas en crachant les pots le plus loin possible. Il y a les copines qui m'ont appris. Je suis super douée.
Ah, super beau. Hein? Okay. I remember well the matelas en laine. A wool mattress. The
Ça, c'est
wool
contact.
mattress. Oh, the wool mattress. Because in a wool mattress, your sweat stays on it. Your coffee
Ah,
or
no,
wine.
during summer, I don't remember. Maybe it was not Peut-être que c'était pas de la laine, peut-être que c'était du... J'hésite entre paille et laine. J'arrive plus trop à me souvenir. Et je
Well,
sais qu'on devait
straw.
pas...
Well, if it's straw, it's going to be so itchy. But
Hmm,
that's the way they did it. And I
hmm.
remember, and
I
I,
just love those those ones. It was so
okay,
funny.
okay. All right. Well, thank you for that guided tour through the pueblo,
Hmm.
le c'est pas un petit maison, man. It had a lot of rooms. Okay.
Maybe one day I'll find the recipe and I can tell you a recipe, a Spanish recipe of
Okay.
cucaboba or
Okay. Well, we heard earlier, thank you. We heard earlier in the first round from Vicky. Are you there, Vicky? Uh-oh, I don't hear Vicky. So then I think I'm gonna, Mo, are you there? Well, then we've been talking about humor, and I'm gonna read a poem I wrote a long time ago that is a true story. Everything I say is true or ought to be. Right? Okay. This is called Two Hypotheses in Search of a Common Theory. And there was an arts festival called the 3 Rivers Arts Festival, and I wrote a piece for stage that was commissioned, and so I performed it. And most of the artists who were invited to this festival were from New York, and so they had a New York air about them. And those of you who know me know that I don't get overwhelmed by other people's airs. And so we got invited to a post-festival party with a whole lot of New Yorkers in it, and a few of us who were not. And this is what transpired between me and a New York poet. I drove my old red Ford to the party. One of your friends accused it of bad vibes. Now I knew I had a radiator problem. We started flirting. She asked, "Do you drink Perrier?" "No," I said. "I already pay a water bill." She spoke of a poet I never heard of. "Really?" she said. "He's so eclectic." "So is James Brown. You want to dance?" "No, thank you. I don't dance." Another white stand-up party in the kitchen. "What's that?" she quipped. "The tattoo on your arm?" "No, that's correct," I replied. Think of it as a designer label limb. Where do you work? In one of those steel mills? Nah, lady, the mills are all shut down, I shrugged. But your instincts are right. I'm into manual labor. Since I got laid off, I masturbate 5 days a week. It's my full-time job. She said, I can't get into labor problems and politics. My guru says it's all an illusion. And I said, so is his ashram in Beverly Hills. Believe in reincarnation, she asks. I see myself as a dove. I replied, I'm coming back on permanent vacation. She laughed and said, be real. And I said, what's real? Folks rescue hungry dogs and stray cats and treat the homeless like lepers. Poor is a state of mind, she insisted. Absolutely, I concurred. Hunger will drive you mad. Well, she gasped, you smoke those nasty camels and your breath smells like wine. Right, I said, but it's white wine. Then I said, look who's talking. I watched you chew 3 cuticles and gnaw your knuckle to the bone. You ain't no vegetarian. Feeling on a roll, I took the high ground. I asked, is good karma stronger than musk? Is a significant other the main squeeze? Is decaffeinated coffee better than methadone maintenance? She said, enough with that slick talk and slang. Right, said I, try this one. Eliminate bigotry. Shoot yourself. She threw the wine in my face and went straight to the door. And I shouted, I'm sorry. Can I try again? After much hesitation, she blurted, hey, yo-yo. Yeah, yin yang. I've been laid off for a while myself. Let's go to my place. Bring your sharp tongue. I'll show you how to use it. Say what, said I. It beats TV, she whispered. Now top that one, sucker.
I love it, Mo. It's so honest and hilarious and well said.
It really happened, and those lines really came out, and we did end up together later that night. So, and I never saw her again after that, but that's how it happened.
Am I plugged in now?
I'm sorry, did I hear a voice?
I'm asking, am I plugged in now?
You sure are plugged in now.
Okay.
And
What happens is when I do the earphones, I can't leave and walk away, and so I have to turn the computer volume audio on. So I
okay,
can hear you, but you couldn't hear me. But I can, as long as you can hear me now, I'm back at my desk.
okay. Well, now it's time for us to hear you, Vicky.
Okay, I didn't want to miss anything, so I try to cover all the bases. And so the next one I'm going to do is going to be a humorous piece about when I first started coming to open mic online. And the name of the piece is called The Loathsome Bard. He stands before us to deliver a poem, a prose, a verse, a rhyme, or message. His manner quite manifesting. His confidence puts the crowd at ease. Soon and very soon, we loathe him. There is too much cluster on his magniloquent vine of strung together words without substance. Though the use of an apophysis gives poetic license to insult, we loathe him instantly. The silver-tongued orator's brilliance soon becomes wearisome, while the mute articulate points of his eccentric ramblings lead us to dead ends, unfulfilled and burdened. We now loathe him. The loathsome bard goes on to rant about degrading and desolate issues of life, which we felt the bard had not concerned. His bombast delivery to some appears eloquent. Grandstand language bellowed out quite grandiloquently. Word vagaries leading us nowhere. We listen of his charades and we loathe him. Though quite colorful and pompous, he leaves us in shambles, brain all scrambled, and we loathe him. The once brilliant verse, though well rehearsed, becomes wearisome. And the bard went not in hard. We, the discombobulated, pray aloud. Next poet, please, Lord. We are all relieved as he finally did leave because he looked better going than coming. And with our intellect, he was toying. Though the bard was not hard, he most certainly was annoying. The loathsome bard, Mama Ola Deji, the all-around queen, in the building.
Wow. Okay, now I, I hope I wasn't that bard.
The loathsome bard, no.
It happens. It does happen, you know. You get a singer who can't sing on key, or you get a poet that doesn't do
Just
any
gets up there
inspiring.
and finds all these big words in the dictionary that they have no understanding of, or just put them out there, thinks a bigger word, and it doesn't even go with the poem. Just standing up there bellowing out all these, "Whoa, I stand before you, to stand in front of you to tell you something which I know nothing about." Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it can happen. It can happen.
Anyway, I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Fortunately, it's not happening tonight.
It
That's
wasn't
good.
you, Dane. It wasn't you, Muhammad. It wasn't you, David. It wasn't you, Caroline. It wasn't you, Mo. So y'all can laugh. It was funny. It was
Okay.
supposed to be a joke.
All right. Okay. That that's the kind of writer you might want to say, you should have stuck to engineering.
Right. I loved everybody's pieces. You know, that's just my
Oh,
humorous piece. I'm trying to, it's being featured tonight or today. I was trying to
okay.
show my versatility. So that was
Okay.
my sense of humor showing you.
Well, good. And we're always ready for a sense of humor. So we can come back to Dane. Do you have one for us now, Dane?
Yeah. Oh, yes, yes. Let's see. Let's see. I got a bunch of stuff here. Let's see. Uh, okay. I cannot know fully your burden, the unjust burden that you carry. I am just a single me, but I see, I feel, I learn, I know, because I learned right and wrong from my imperfect mama. The only Bible lesson we need for a just world is to do unto others as we would have them, as you would have them do unto you. I will testify. I will stand by you. I will be counted in the numbers who seek justice. I will whisper subversion into the ears of the unsuspecting. All men are created equal. Being literal, I thought it meant everyone. I asked my Del Rio, Texas history teacher how it could be to hold the idea that of equality for all and oppress black folks. It's just downright hateful. It made no sense to me. My teacher said they left the part out about white. They meant all white men are created equal. Well, this white man knows the definition of all. All is all. Everybody, all of us, no exception. John Lewis crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge for the last time as I write this, and I cry out in agony at his passing, my heart smashed to bits. But in my mind, I know there passes a giant of a man who walked on the path of righteousness. All we have to do is follow. We got it from here.
Okay. All right. Glad for your historical mentioning today.
I loved it. I loved
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Is like that? Yeah. Okay,
Well,
that's good.
that's what happened. You know, I was writing that and I was watching him go by on TV.
Yeah. I caught a little bit of that coverage earlier. You know, the horse-drawn coffin being driven over the famous bridge. You know, infamous bridge, however you want to look at it in these days.
I like how he incorporated the bridge and him going across it into the poem. That was a good, really good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's see. Now I'm going to ask Mo if he's back yet. Are you back yet, Mo? No. Okay. Then I will ask David Sirois if he wishes to read next. Okay. All right.
I love to. So this is another poem or section from the epic poem I'm working on. Whoa! About a ghost holding the hand of a human. So this is called a sacred sound. How far did you want to open the door? We have a lot of ghosts in store here, said a faceless voice in my lightning dream. How far can the door to the unseen safely open without being swung ajar hard in wild winds to break its glass on brick? How far can I go forward, thinking I walk alone? How long can I, hermit poet, be blind to my dependence on other human beings? Forgotten farmers who harvested the plants I eat, factory workers who fabricated my shoes, and the women who saw the saint in me when I was a sluggish drunk, all of whom helped bring me here, intact, alive, still a survivor. Supported by lovers and nameless laborers. How many of my fleshless ancestors look for a living voice? How many words were left unsaid, and how vital that they must clamber over the world's obscure doorstep, re-enter the warm human earth to find a home inside our hearing, a nest on which to rest the wild birds of wise words. As they say in Germany, who opened the door? Which is to say, how did all these ghosts arrive to haunt sunlight? The stage door that opens onto a private green room of ghosts, bodiless souls filled with ripe words like the countless seeds of a pomegranate. Let's let it open one poem at a time. So, like Edgar Cayce, it does not consume the flesh of my youth and health, but it never shortened my life like his. The mortal will is never satisfied with life inside itself alone, but must open its stone column at both ends and let divine breath freely fill its flute with music, empty of self and full of love. I allow the ghost to come in from off in the stage's wings. David, soften your brow and let go of tension's grip that hold your shoulders high. What would 3:33 a.m. be without a spirit's visit? To stir your summer room's still warm air. I won't stay long. Know that the only valid thing on which to spend the valued coins of time's ticking seconds are practices that clean the windows of your consciousness. See that when you spent 30 of your night minutes to chant in Sanskrit, only then could you hear me. The silence that absorbed you after the last prayer's praise and petition offered a space for my voice. When you drank the daylight hours into a dull, drowsy daze, how could you have heard my crying out? Now let the doors of your perception stay open wide a little while longer. You became strong enough to surrender after being engaged in God's names and power for half an hour. In order to let go of the driftwood you let float upon your mind's original silence, you instead held on to divine sound for a certain space in time. Since your unquiet thoughts have dissolved, I can share a few final words. To release the crows of thought that chain you, all your private words of prey. Hold on tight to one good thought, the life-sustaining, grace-bestowing power of sacred sound.
All right. And let me press you on this. Do you hold on to one sacred thought yourself?
I try, Mo, I try.
Now that's a legitimate answer. I try. That's great. Because
Yeah,
whether we're in a monastery in Tibet or in the middle of Bangor, Maine, one can't always stay, in the fourth dimension. It's true.
I love it.
right,
I
try to
love
repeat
it.
my mantra all day.
Oh
Okay.
wow, that was
Stay,
beautiful.
be here now.
All right.
Thank you, Vicky.
Wow, it was so poetic.
Thank you.
Now, since you talked about your experiences drinking, you reminded me that I have a poem about my own drinking. So I will follow that topically, although yours was much broader than just drinking. I understand.
That's grateful.
Mine is actually focused on it, and it's called "Had I Been Drunk." Had I been drunk, I would have guessed why this shit happens. Then denial, my shroud of folly, repeated. Able to pay due attention the morning after? Always, sometime too soon, sometimes the end of the day I started one day earlier, solely to cycle for a time longer. I am not yet ready to know and admit. Had I been hammered, I would have pulled out one of my threadbare apologies for what could have occurred. The possibilities are endless to the dead end. Had I been ripped and funkin' for Havana in a smoke cloud bistro up in Pigalle, steaming in heat for the wet brunette, a cappella mad cadenza, crazed baritone, my tongue one with the cafe floor. That I'm not is so foreign, this journey to somewhere I seem to remember before I got lost, to find myself grateful to be and bear witness again in creation, a creature incanting, every dog shall have its day. And I got to tell you, today on the train, I read your new verses. I so much do love you. I rode love like a man on a train. Had I been smashed into opaque corners of the asshole of entropy, reeking of raw oblivion? Ah, but no, I'm peering through gray mesh brain maze, willing to abdicate, ego malignant. Oh, simplicity, this could be bliss. Should this signal I'm feeling something more than no thing at all I can no longer hold on to, I rise and I breathe on fresh air and love. So real love, just for the sake of. Were I to fall drop dead drunk, failing to share with you my naked moment, how it floats free. Oh, this is confusing. This is confusing. Say this is confounding. Enter sweet music and laughter. I bathe in the color of light.
I absolutely love that, Mo. That
Okay.
poem gave me so much
Incredibly
inspiration.
great.
Okay.
So
Thank
much
you.
inspiration. I could take that piece right there and make about 4 different poems and get away with murder with that piece. Because like I
Mm,
can put, if I were my old self, I could do this. If I were my old self, I would say that.
Mm.
Okay. Wow. You're getting away with murder with that piece because you can
Well,
tell a person that the beautiful change, but they just don't know what they could have got if you were still drinking.
yeah, well, you got to pay to play sooner or later. You got to
Amen.
put up. That was,
I loved
I
it.
I get away with
I am
murder. I
I am
almost murdered
so
myself.
yeah,
yeah. Oh,
I know
what I
that
mean is
stuff.
poetically right now, like
Yeah.
you describing to us what you were like, and if like I said, if something happens to you now, and you're in the bar, you're not taking a drink, but maybe you're just in there with some friends shooting the breeze. Somebody comes up and insults you, and then you were like, if I had been drunk, I'll be putting my foot somewhere. I mean, like you would just tell the person that, you wouldn't do it, but still.
Yeah. Liquid courage. Liquid courage.
No, but this is when you're sober. Like you would say, boy, you gotta be glad you caught me sober because if this had been the old me, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. I would be pulling my shoe out your butt, like that.
that
Oh
was
wow,
that was
that's a
brilliant,
great
Mo.
poem.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
So
Perfect poem.
I'd like to read one final poem because David Leo Siwa here got himself well established and well known by writing a series of poems, the Pigeon Poems. And while he did not read one tonight because he's moved on past that period, which was so well received here in Paris and published elsewhere, I always told David, I would like to read you my one pigeon poem,
Mighty
which is
fine.
which I'm not going to the profound depths you went to. I'm going through the hardcore hard day in Philadelphia. It's called Pigeon English. I was headed for a payphone on a gas station wall at the corner of 34th and Spruce. It was the shady side of Philadelphia. It felt like a nightmare. It felt like a nightmare as I stopped inside a Chinese market. She said, rub balm on top, take head off, promise. I, her line was busy, so I made the time. I sat against the wall below the phone next to the uh, men's room door. On the door, painted in very cherry lipstick red, it said, wine me, dine me, 69 me. Next, I heard a faint coo, coo, coo from beneath a rusted bumper of a has-been Pontiac destined for the junkyard. I spied a big fat pigeon huddled beneath that wreck, shivering, scared, both eyes cloudy. I recalled a wino from Pittsburgh who told me, I'm so poor I can't pay attention. Head bent to the side, beak unhinged, the bird was inner city gray, head to claw, 10W40, clumped in gobs on its breast and left wing. She went through one hell of a tune-up, I thought. I tried her number. It rang busy again. A chatty chick. I lit my last generic low-tar cigarette, sat back down against the gas station wall, and eyed that pigeon. It must be old and sick, I thought. Just stands there, shaking all over. What a way to go. I tried pigeon talk with it, cooing, coaxing the bird to come forward. Bird wasn't buying it. It just stared at me as if to say, sorry, man, you might be bad news, and today ain't my best one. And I said, you can trust me, pigeon. I used to be an East Side Boy Scout. No alley apple slingshots over here. I may have moved on to Canaries, but I never forgot my roots. Bird cooed. Coo, man. Coo with me. Well, I tried her line again and it rang free, and she said, you're talking to a motherfucking pigeon at 34th and Spruce. Well, I've been roasting chicken, waiting on your wasted ass since 7. Dinner's off, she screamed and smashed the phone down so hard, my migraine growled, hello, I'm back. I think she changed her mind. Well, I kicked a can of axle grease and cursed my luck aloud, and that's when the bird finally hobbled over toward me, one loser to another, and he said in perfect pigeon English, hey, man, I've been there before. I feel you. Sorry if you lost your supper. I was roasting pretty till my old lady flew the coop over some dumb rooftop shit. Digging through my pockets, I had change enough for a rubber hot dog. Bird said, let's face it, I'll be dead by 9:30. I ain't pheasant, but you could do a lot worse. Pick me apart. Thanks, I said, but I couldn't do it to you. Too cruel. Oh, you cool, he said, so cool. I got down on all fours, face to face with Bird, trying to put things on the good foot. I said, Polly, want a cracker? Don't, don't be smart, she shrieked sharply and turned away. He hobbled back to the wreck and ducked back under the rusted bumper. The last thing I saw of him, he lifted his tail feathers and barred his big ass my way. I thought, damn, so cool, so cool, so cool that pigeon be. Mm.
Oh, I love it, Mo.
And
It's a
and
really
with the dog, and with the dog barking. Wow.
And with the dog barking, man, dog sound. Don't be
uh,
moving no bird in my bedroom, Moe.
it's
thought
such
that-
such a well-wrought, perfect poem too, and yet the humor element uplifts even that seriousness.
Yeah,
One loser to another, and man, that's good.
yeah,
Thanks, Mo.
yeah. Sense of humor when it's self-effacing, and to me, the most honest. When I laugh
I
honest,
do a lot.
when I
I
laugh
didn't know.
honestly at my own folly, I'm in the most contact with truth. Not it can't
Yeah,
be found in other ways, but laughing at my own folly is like a core heart message.
yeah.
I didn't even know
That's
that
what.
pigeon poems were popular because the first time I came in, I didn't have a mic, and I remember pigeon poop was my poem that Chris McNally read for me.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I never got to read it myself, but one day I'll read it for you.
Okay. And I've been
Great.
wanting for a long time to read my pigeon poem to the man who built a reputation on pigeon poems. So
I
there we
never,
go.
I never knew.
Thanks. I'm gonna publish my book, Humble Doves. They are
Okay.
humble doves. Yeah, I'm
Well,
working
yeah.
on getting blurbs for the back and publishing it while my big book sits at contests.
Okay.
You
Well,
know
like
what?
they
I
say,
never knew it. I never knew that. So this is a a book you're going to write all about pigeons? With pigeon poems in it?
Yeah, it's a book of poems to pigeons and a few poems to plants. Little chapbook that I'm gonna publish myself while waiting for my like 75 pager to get published
Right.
for real.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's
Great.
it. That's it. Well, I want to say hi at this minute. I want to say hi at this moment to someone on screen here named Jimmy Lee. Hello, Jimmy. Are you there? And if you are, unmute.
Yes, hi. How you doing? Jimmy from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. I've heard of it. All right. So
Thank you.
good, Jimmy. We've gone through a round and a half of poetry here. Are you a poet, I presume?
I don't know if I am or not, but I did write something.
Okay. Well,
My
if you're
turn.
not,
You go. I'm
well,
next.
if you're not a poet, Vicky will let you know.
Okay.
That's an inside joke. It's an inside joke because Vic. Okay, so yeah, you dropped in at the right time because we've just gone through six of us or seven of us. So come on board and read a poem, Jimmy.
Okay. This is a little something. I'm not really sure if it's a poem. It's a little story. It's called "The Friend I Did Not Know."
All
Uh,
right.
6 years ago, we traveled to Iceland. It was a fun trip, just a short plane ride away. We stayed at a hotel owned by the airline that we flew, and there was a plaque on the reception lobby wall saying that this is where Bobby Fischer lived during his last days. There were 4 people in our group: me, my girlfriend Susan, her colleague Diane, and her 6'6" tall son Philip. Diane was always very kind towards Philip, engaging him in conversation, constantly checking up on him to make sure that he was okay. Whenever I tried talking to him, though, he was always engaged with his Apple tablet instead. One night outside Reykjavik, while stargazing and looking for the northern lights, Diane sought me out in the deep dark of night. Philip is in trouble, she said. Can you help him? I looked over and I saw him at the top of a staircase near the water's edge in a sandy area. Diane told me he was reacting poorly to his new antidepressants and had trouble keeping his balance and walking. He was disoriented and extremely anxious. I went over quickly, reassured Philip that he was okay, pulled his left arm around my shoulders, and walked him back to the safety of the tour bus. I heard him sigh loudly when he sat down, and he contentedly went to sleep. We took another trip recently, the same foursome. This time, we're on a European river cruise in October of 2019. It was along the Danube River, and we visited several countries. I tried to engage Philip in a little more than small talk, but he was well protected. My task to get to know him better failed again. I thought it quite odd that wherever we went, nationally and internationally, on several occasions, strangers, people with gaydar, always knew who Philip was and would flirt with him. That was when he smiled and seemed happy. I always wondered how this worked because Philip was not effeminate. The ending to my story is not a happy one. This year in January, we received a phone call from a very distraught Diane. Philip did not report to his 150K a year job where he trained lawyers. When the NYPD came to his apartment and the landlord opened the door, they found Philip dead with a suicide note nearby. It said he was in too much pain from loneliness and debt. The debt aspect did not make sense. It was discovered that he owed about 30K, but he had 300K in his bank account. Diane's partner said that gay men in their late 50s were no longer regarded as hot anymore. Finding new partners became impossible. That was not apparent to us, but it made sense. Philip lived in an alternate universe that I could not enter. He was the friend I never got to know.
All right. Yeah. So true. So
Very
true.
sad.
All right. Jimmy, do you, as a role, write stories? What do? You into prose, poetry, both?
I like writing little stories
Okay.
about things that have happened.
Yeah, right, right. Things that have happened. That's what they got it. Okay.
Well, it
Woof.
held my attention, and it took me there. And
Yeah,
I
yeah. And
continued
that's
to follow
interesting.
along.
That's interesting what you say, Jimmy, which is to say, men eyed him up and flirted or noticed him, even though he was not effeminate. But there were men who could pick that up. That is true. I get along very well with lesbians.
Oh,
I have several lesbian friends, and I don't meet them at lesbian affairs. I meet them in New York and Paris, this summer in Paris, at a bookstore, cafe, bar. You
huh.
know, the point is, I end up with them for late hours. We end up going out to late night clubs and some lesbian clubs that get real hot where the girls start stripping, to show their freedom and all. And I get a pass because I'm with one of the known women who go in. So that's it. And we never really ask each other, are you straight or gay?
Mm.
What we just know is we're connecting. And sometime down through the evening, we discover that I'm straight, she's lesbian, and we really hit it off well. So I relate to it that way.
That's
I
so
relate to it.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy, I think the reason he didn't respond to you is because he didn't want to have any type of conflict with his mother, maybe making her think you were trying to hit on him or he was trying to hit on you. He was just leaving that space for her and kind of like just blocking you out. He didn't want to be friendly with you because it could have led to thinking something that wasn't really there. So just to keep it neutral, he probably just reacted like that. So you couldn't reach him. But the story that you told was well delivered, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it's real life. I mean, we've all, unfortunately, Jimmy, we've heard stories like that before with people who just can't save themselves through their darkness and their isolation. Yo, and money won't save you. I mean, money won't save you when you get that dark down. I'm glad I
Yeah.
don't chase. I don't. I'm glad I don't chase money. Uh, so if I get that way, I'll die sooner.
So what about Carolyn? Carolyn, are you
Now,
gonna do
hold on. Let me host. Thank you, Vicky. I was just getting back to Carolyn, so you read my mind. And so, Carolyn, what about Carolyn?
Yeah, what about me? I knew some boy at the lycée, high school,
Hmm.
well, who was fired by not going to the school because he was so depressed and couldn't assume to be gay. It was quite hard, and he attempted to commit suicide several times, and it was a bad high school, and they fired me almost the same year because I was most in the park than in classroom.
You were learning the
I
universe.
preferred speaking with trees.
Yeah, there was something wrong with you, and that's all right. That's right. That's it. Talk to your plants, and your plants will talk to you. Right?
Yeah,
Good, good,
like
good.
David.
Okay. Hmm.
I didn't wrote them some poems yet.
Oh, there's Jimmy. Now we see you, Jimmy. How you doing? All right.
I had no idea
Hi.
my video was off. I'm sorry.
Well, at the moment, we were all wondering who is this mysterious man talking such a deep personal story.
We could
That's cool.
imagine.
Now we put a face to the good story. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to call up anybody who wishes to poem in at this moment and sort of give us let's give us a quick round before, I don't know. Let's give us a quick round in here if anybody wishes to poem again or prose again. Jimmy, you read once.
I could go in again a little bit later. I'd have to find something else, please.
Okay, do you think you can find something?
Yes.
Because you're a writer, right?
I'll
You
get a couple
can.
of minutes.
Okay, you do that. And
Okay.
in the meantime, I'll turn it over to Caroline or Dane or Vicky or Mo if he's back, or David, Leo. Just turn it over. Who wants to come forward?
I just opened my book of pigeon poems,
Uh-oh.
Okay, go.
if you like.
All right. Okay, your pigeon talk to my pigeon. You're on.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So yeah, the book's called Humble Doves, and this is the first poem. It's called Humble Doves. I saw children chasing pigeons at a playground in Montmartre. As I walked by, I smiled and disapproved. They didn't notice me or my hair in disrepair, but I stared in mute contemplation of their scary, fearless, unrelenting effort to scare these multicolored humble doves who come from everywhere. Oh, that's one. I can read one more if you want.
Well, we got to pay tribute to pigeons, peacocks of the working class.
Right, right. I love that.
Do you have one that's not epic length since we're into our
Oh
third
yeah, this
round?
is like 2/3 of a page. That's sorry. So
Whatever.
this is called this is called The Secret Pigeon's Ball.
Ooh.
Of all the unbidden pigeons in this half-hidden heart park, Dave's fave is different. She refuses to wear their scarf of blue and green tradition. She models the color coffee ice cream, free to be alone and unbothered, crooning tones of cool. Does she know she's odd? Dressed up for some private event, a secret pigeon's ball, where several colors of feeling mingle and merge into brown. Play-Doh in my 8-year-old hands. When I nabbed the new year in my mind, tall gold neon 1979 sign, and got into time's toy train to race faster, ever faster, into Paris proper, where in an overlooked park, a smart, illiterate pigeon, quite quiet, unaware of my stare, washes her long wing feathers in a fountain of sunshine. The essence of fashion is feeling good looking.
All right, all right. Get a picture of that pigeon, huh? Post a picture of that pigeon. How do we say that? Groove? How do we say that, David?
Groovy.
All right.
Like with an AY, groovy.
Yeah, David used to announce groovy here in his Paris readings, and that used to tweak all our earbuds. All right. So, okay. Now, Jimmy, thank you, David. Jimmy, did you find a piece for us? Or did we?
Yes, I did. I have a couple of limericks.
Put some shit in the game. All right.
Yeah. The first one is about thievery in Brooklyn. There seems to be a guy who has been posted on the internet. There's photos of him. He makes his daily rounds like the postman. What he does is he follows the UPS truck, and when they drop off a package, either indoors or outdoors, he just goes and retrieves it and keeps it. So this is dedicated to him. I opened your box from Amazon. stolen from the porch I walked upon.
Oh, stop it, stop it. No, you're messing
Inside,
up.
inside was a snake, a real one, not fake. The tag had said T from Ceylon.
All right. Okay. All right.
And the
Well,
second one is about, the COVID lockdown where people are quarantined. We're staying in our own places. And a lot of people are saying, well, we missed the bar scene and socializing. So this is dedicated to them. It's a limerick called Danger. You gave me a gaze from afar. Your eyes were like twinkling stars. Your lips were pursed. Didn't know I was cursed as I strolled towards you in the bar.
all right. Go with that. All right. And
And
those.
also one more short one.
All right.
Limerick. It's called Dessert After Dinner. The cake, it smelled like candy. In the kitchen, I'm certainly handy. The icing was slick. It won't make you sick, though the main ingredient was brandy.
All right. Wow. 3 clean limerick poems. Let's give him a hand for 3 clean limerick poems.
That was
I haven't heard that many couplets and limericks clean in so
Is
long.
this every week? Is this meeting every week?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sundays.
okay. Thank you.
All right. You're
Okay.
welcome. How did you hear about us then?
Ron Bremer.
Oh, okay. Ron was on earlier tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Ron.
make it earlier. Sorry. I
That's
knew it was
okay.
5:30. I couldn't get in earlier. I had to do
That's-
something else.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Good. Well then, now, do we have another one from you, Caroline?
I found my pigeon poem.
Uh-oh. All right.
found
Pigeons
mine
roll.
too.
Peacocks
dug
of the
mine up
working
too,
class.
Kelly.
It's a very sad one. Not
Okay.
so, it's quite romantic, but it was some years before. I've been very sick for several times, and I had to stay at home. And during the night, there was a pigeon who came every night between 3 and 4 a.m. and just cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo next to the window every night. And he was my best friend, so I wrote him a poem.
Okay.
It's named Ces mondes intérieurs. Je ne suis pas seule. Il y a un pigeon qui roucoule sur le rebord de la fenêtre. Est-ce l'ami de Florent venu me consoler? Je ne suis pas seule. Il fait nuit. Dehors, la ville est endormie. Le commissariat somnole sur le trottoir d'en face. Réfugié écologique au cœur de la ville, calfeutré entre 4 murs, un appartement devenu radeau de sauvetage en pleine mer de pollution. Je ne peux plus piffrer ce monde, au sens propre. À chaque fois que je sors, des parfums débordent et me vrillent. Je ne sens plus que ça, un masque olfactif, qui hurle en moi comme une sirène d'alarme. Je me dis que peut-être à la campagne, mais non. Les abeilles survivent mieux au cœur de la ville, pesticides ennemis. Alors, en tant qu'humaine, je ne peux pas m'installer au cœur d'un parc national naturel, comme une espèce protégée. Pourtant, j'en ai besoin de protection, de soutien. Je me sens comme ce personnage d'Indien perdu dans un Indien dans la ville. Besoin de me reconnecter à moi, d'aller soigner le mal à la racine. Agir à ma façon, à ma mesure. Tracer une nouvelle voie de guérison et explorer mes territoires intérieurs, à défaut d'explorer le monde. Si l'univers tout entier est en moi, alors je peux agir aussi en passant par là. Voyageuse immobile, je m'explore, je m'apprivoise, je me découvre peu à peu. Je ne suis pas seule. Il y a un pigeon qui roucoule sur le rebord de la fenêtre. Est-ce l'ami de Florent venu me consoler? Je ne suis pas seule. Il fait nuit. Dehors, la ville est endormie. Le commissariat somnole sur le trottoir d'en face.
Whoa. Le siren de l'âme, the siren of the soul. That's nice. I like that line. All right, Caroline, thank you. All right. So I think, I don't know, I have limited storage space capacity. Did I get everyone for a last read?
I wanted to do it last week.
Yeah, okay. And then did I get you for a last read also, Dane?
Uh, no, I have one short one I could do. Yes.
Okay, well then let's do Vicky and let's do Dane.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, I had pulled up two. So, and then when she pulled up the pigeon poem, I said I might do that one. But I'm asked, would you rather hear the elegy for the boyfriend that I just lost last week, or would you rather hear the pigeon poem? It's called Pigeon
Well,
Poem.
you know what? I would, because we've been on pigeons, I would default to pigeon talk myself.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to bow out. It's a little late right now, but
Mo, how are you, Mo? Everybody say hi, Mo. He's our technical man and poet.
I
Hi,
know
Mo.
you're back.
hey,
Haha.
Well,
hey.
And
Hey,
he's in the Near East in the United Arab Emirates. So it's going on 2:30 in the morning for Mo.
wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mo. Well, I
Okay.
was doing this because I think Mo had wanted to hear it. So let me do it real quick before he leaves. Because this is the one that McNally did for me when I didn't have a microphone. It's called Pigeon Poop. And the reason I got into this one is because Emily Dickinson had a challenge to say, write the truth, tell the truth, but tell it with a slant.